That's me putting the background music for people to come in the room. Salute to everybody. Thank you.
Okay.
Salute to everybody getting this live right now. What's good, everybody in the room? We're just waiting for more people to come here. We're building up live right now. Salute to everybody. I'm sorry, with Reggie Wright himself. Shout out to everybody in the chat room I see coming up right now. 38 Lizzie, Frel the Laws, Aaron Finley. Woo, we got a lot of people in here. Hang on, y'all. Let me put a thumbnail. We got RJ in the room. Let me put a thumbnail for the OG himself, Mr. Reggie. Y'all never mind me for a little bit right quick. Y'all get yourself acquainted. We're going to start in 2 minutes. Okay. All right, let's get the show arrived. And to let the brother know, I didn't put any tags or nothing, just off the strength of who you are, Reggie. I kind of just started the show right away, and I didn't promote it or nothing because I know how this. It's gonna be a crazy night. It's gonna be a good night. Reggie, what's good with you, man?
Oh man, I'm good, brother. How you doing today?
Everything is cool with me, man. I'm alive, and within the news what's going on with people today, I can't really complain. You know, I can't call it, man.
That's what life is all about, man. Just being alive and being able to take care of our families and try to stay coronavirus free, right?
Man, Rona 19 free. I think we skipped the Rona 19. We're going right to Rona 23, man. It's crazy, man. Before we get started, Reggie, has the impact of the COVID affected you and your family?
My father caught it,
Wow.
and he's still kind of dealing with it. He's up to 72, 70. Well, no, he's 4, and right. So he's been having a hard time with it, but he's doing better now. But a couple of weeks ago, he was having a rough run with it.
Your father's basically around that barrier and that age where he's probably at risk, right?
Yeah, he was having it pretty bad. They kept him in the hospital for about a week. Then they sent him home. And a couple of times he called me and texted me saying it was kicking his butt. Pray for him.
Nah, man. I'm the son of a preacher, man. I'll definitely pray too, because a lot of times I don't really meet people who got into situations such with your father. So I'm gonna say, man, you seem like a good son, and you seem to be a guy that's, very. You're open up to talk about your love for your father. Before we even get into that, can you just do me a favor, Reggie? Smoke Gang is in here, and as I put the tags, can you just salute to the people in the comment sections right quick?
Okay, yeah. What up, I Smoke family? How you brothers doing over there? I know y'all pretty much East Coast, South based channel, which is all love. Appreciate you guys, and appreciate y'all tuning in and just to hear my version of the story. I know I got a lot of hate and a lot of people that don't understand because I let a lot of stuff linger on too long. But I'm out here now trying to clear it up. And I'm an open book. Like I told BlessOne, you can ask me any questions. So I'm not, I wish I was able to see a computer so I can see the questions coming in as well.
Right.
But I don't let BlessOne control it. And whatever questions y'all got to ask me, feel free.
I mean, it's just the fact that you're. I've been watching a lot of your interviews, and I kind of shied away from that because I was like, I like how you said you like spontaneous interviews. You like things just to be on the go, on the fly. So
yeah.
Let's get started. And before I'm gonna talk about current events, things that are going on right now. But let's just get the monkey out the way. Thank you for the donation by Psych L for the $20 donation. Thank you. No phone calls right now. I would gladly ask everybody to not call the show. We're not doing phone calls with anybody. In fact, let me get rid of the show number off the screen. Reggie, I'm gonna get this out the way and I'll bring it back because we're gonna be doing current events.
Hey, let me just tell you this, Smoke. BlessOne. Hey, I got another time on my hands, so if you want to take some phone calls and you can't connect them in, I'm willing to do it. So,
most
like I said, I'm an open book, bro. Okay. There ain't nothing somebody can say to me that can offend me or hurt me.
Okay, what we're definitely gonna do is we're gonna do the StreamYard and I'm gonna allow people to come in to ask you questions after we get the interview out the way, most definitely, and they got at least respectable phone calls. I'm not gonna let anybody disrespect the platform. No
Hey,
guests.
all we do is tell them to bye. Just hang up if they get crazy, right?
Yeah, we ain't emotional over here, man. Life is life. You can't control people and their feelings. And we got you in a good mode. I'm gonna sneak one in. I got you in a good vibe, man. Like, one thing I noticed a lot of people don't really ask about it, like, you seem to not just have this business relationship with Suge Knight. Like, what was your childhood like with Suge Knight? You know what I'm saying? Growing up with him, as far as
Suge was okay. Well, growing up, me and Suge were the geeks of the neighborhood. We were the ones that had, the mother and the father still in our family. That was the head of our family, and we both was really playing in the athletics growing up, in the baseball, basketball at Luders Park, baseball at Kelly Park. He played football at Greater Compton, but I was a Linwood guy. I played at Linwood, Pop Warner Football League. And then where we really connected back up at was at Linwood High School football. And those of y'all don't know too much about our schooling. We was mainly Compton kids, but we went to a school in Linwood, which was closer because we lived on the borderline of Linwood and Compton. And so Linwood, and it was a better football school. We both thought we were going to be football players, which he turned out to be a good football player and even got a shot in the pros, where I just went to Long Beach State and tried to play. Figured out that wasn't for me.
Right. Oh, time out. Slow down. So you had some type of Division I status with Long Beach State?
Yeah, I played at Cal State University of Long Beach. I got recruited by them and went there on a football scholarship.
What position?
He went to El Camino. I went straight to a university, but he went to El Camino College, City College.
Right.
Suge was a late developer with football. I'll be honest, he wasn't that good in high school. But, man, that dude I think he got introduced to the world of steroids or something. I don't know. But that boy became a beast in college. He was a junior college All-American, right. And he was also an All-American at UNLV. Yeah. So he was just a late bloomer, I guess is the correct word.
What position you played, if you don't mind me asking you?
Man, I have to show y'all some pictures of me. I was small. I was a running back. I was still kind of a heavier running back. In high school, I was about 210, 205. And I played running back and then inside linebacker, where Suge played offensive line. He was offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. So right. I was a lot smaller than what I am now.
Like you've been through a lot recently in the past or whatnot. Can you before I get into some other things, first of all, welcome back into the world, because you had your extent as far as into, you know what I mean, being is the judicial system. But I more want to talk about what's your take on Suge Knight's situation, you know what I mean, and the crime that happened, with the guy, the circumstance involved. Like, what's your take on that with the sentence?
Well, I know that wasn't his intentions. Right. His intentions went there to be the bully that he is, to try to push up on him, because he felt that they were using his likeness a lot in the movie, and he wasn't getting paid, and he wasn't making no money off of it. And at the time, unfortunately, he needed money because the government really did a whammy on him. I mean, they took their throne from that boy. They literally used a federal employment to take the company from him, and him being hard-headed, didn't fight it in court, and and hired the proper attorney to deal with it, went and let a default judgment get placed against his company for $107 million. And when you get a default judgment, they start taking all your stuff, and so he had to file bankruptcy. And within the bankruptcy, unfortunately, he lost his music catalog, his publishing, and everything. His name is cleaner than all of ours. He don't owe anybody anything now, but unfortunately, he don't have anything but his name. Unfortunately, if he wouldn't have went to prison, I'm pretty sure he would have been like Tina Turner. You know, when Tina Turner told the judge all she wanted was her name,
Right.
and then she revived her career. I really think he could have revived his career, but you know, his brush with the law put that on hold. Yeah.
I mean, did you know the actor Terry Carter, and what was your take on that whole viral moment that day? Like, what things could have been done? Do you agree with it? Like, what's the whole situation with that?
Well, number one, Terry Carter was a casualty of that, because him and Terry Carter were friends.
Right.
He had a lot of love and respect for Terry Carter. Bone, if you're going on Bone first, I just put a video where Bone talking about how the incident went. And, you know, unfortunately, Bone, you know, he was the aggressor that day.
Right.
And because he felt as though Suge was, you know, interfering with his money because he was hired to protect them and the crew and all of that. And now Suge over there got to him and pushed up on him, and he wasn't there.
Right.
And so he feels as though that he had to come over there to keep his street credibility. And unfortunately, that Blood and Crip, you know, even though they both were blood affiliated, but that game banging mentality took over, and it you know, unfortunately Terry lost his life, and Suge lost his life as well.
Right. I mean,
well, you know, I guess that's a little harsh that he lost his life, but you know, 28 years for a guy, 54 years of age is take a lot of your lifetime from you. It'd be 70, 71 before he get out of custody.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
like the sentence alone, man. Like they gave him a 28-year plea deal, right? But after that, allegedly, and I want you to clarify some things. This is what I heard through the grapevines, that you claim that they played Suge Knight a secret recording, you know, prior to him accepting the plea deal. Like, do you want to talk about that?
What actually happened is he had a recording that he thought would exonerate him or gave him a good defense, which would have made the jury maybe gave him a not guilty charge. Right. And the judge wouldn't allow that to be played in the court. And so that's what made him have to take the plea. But the main reason he had to take the plea was because in California we have this 3-strike law. Suge have 2 strikes. Suge had 3 cases pending. He had 3 cases pending. He had a threat, a terrorist threat on the director, Gary F. Davis. He had a attempt robbery or a theft with the incident with Cat Williams that Cat Williams fled out to, where they supposedly took the camera from the paparazzi lady, and then he had that incident with the with Terry Carter and Bones, where the incident that we all saw. And so in California, they could have tried him without a not guilty plea, or any one of those cases. They could have tried him again, which meant that they would have had 6 chances to go after him.
Right. Damn, 6?
And then he would have got life. He would have got his 3rd strike.
Right. Which
is 25 to life. Versus now he got 28-year sentence. He had already gonna get credit because we got day for day out here when you're in the county jail system. He had already did 3.5 years. So that's already about seven years that's taken off. So he's like been in jail 7 years. That was 2 years ago. So he got 9 years on 85%. 85% is like, what, 22, 23 years, I guess, on a 28-year sentence.
Around that range.
So you subtract. I'm sorry?
No, I was agreeing with around that range. I was doing the math. My bad.
Yeah. So you take away 9 to 10 years that he got credit for right now today. You subtract that from 22 to 23 years, so he really only got like 12 to 13 years left on his sentence. Versus a life sentence when he would have probably never got out, unless you get some crazy governor that want to come and give you a pardon.
Right. I mean, two things I want to ask you. Number one, do you think Suge Knight might get a pardon? And number two, you're like one of the many few people that kind of have Suge Knight back. And I know it probably goes into your upbringing with him and through the playgrounds or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, do you think he might get a pardon in the near future or probably away from that? And at the same time, why are you the only guy that seemed, and in a good light, I'm saying that you seem to always have his back, at least when he's talking as far as the big bad wolf character of Suge Knight.
Yeah. Okay. So the first part of your question is a pardon. Everybody's saying, "Oh yeah, Kanye West and this person is talking to President Trump about a pardon." Well, unfortunately, I wish that was true, but that can't happen. Donald Trump can't pardon anyone in a state facility. Right. Suge is in a state facility. He can only pardon people that's in a federal system. So I laugh every time I hear that. Be like, people just throw stuff out. Only the governor of California could give him a pardon, not a president, because they only have control over the federal judicial system, not the state judicial system. And so I don't think there's any pardons in the future. Now, you may get a governor eventually within the next 10 or 12 years that may be considered to give him a pardon, but it won't be Donald Trump. Okay. And as far as me, I go in and out. Right now, it's a tape recorder that's recording this out that's been played on the Dossier podcast that's like 5 or 6 years old. Right. Where she would say, "Yeah, Reggie, well, I think the people edited it, I'll be honest. He just said a people in a circle, the same people in the circle are the ones that did it. He's talking about the Southside Compton Crips. But everybody want to make it seem like he's talking about Reggie and his corrupt police runs, which that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the Southside Compton Crips. But y'all stay tuned. I'm doing a live debate with the Dossier people on Thursday. That'll be airing on Bomb First on Thursday. And y'all can check it out with the FBI agent. So we're going to get all of this stuff cleared up.
Tell them where they could find that.
I try to tell the truth. I try to go both ways with Suge as far as I tell the good and the bad. I tell the good and the bad on myself. I just try to be an open book and tell, no, that ain't how it happened. That ain't what's true. Right. Yeah, he did do this, or he did do that. And that's why sometimes it seems like I'm defending him. And then some people will be like, now he's talking about him, because I'm trying to be truthful about the situation. Right. People just want you to, I'm not going to lie for him. I'm not going to put a halo over his head, but when he do right, I try to call a ball, strike a strike.
Right. I mean, you're just clarifying things. All honorable type of traits, if you ask me, regardless of the side of the spectrum people want to fall on. I would like to have someone on my side like that. So it's all honorable. I mean, speaking of sentence, Reggie, when you look at a while ago, you just got back into the world. Salute to you. And you along with your father, and let me know, I don't want to misquote or the situation, I want you to speak on it, if you can speak on it, and if you're allowed to. I know you were indicted on marijuana charges with your father. You were facing 5 years, but had to do less than 3 years. What's that situation like, and is everything okay with you and your father in that situation?
Well, my father, he didn't have to do any time or anything, because it was found out that I pretty much explained to the government, hey, all my father did was had a checking account, and we have the same name, that he opened for me, that I put money in. Right. So he didn't have to do any time or anything. I'm currently in a halfway house now. That's where I'm calling you from. Right. Where I just got released on November the 4th, and I'll be here in this halfway house, or at least still in the BOP system until February the 1st. Right. But I should be going home to home confinement in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, in California, marijuana laws is lenient as a mug. But when you're going back to the South in Memphis, Tennessee, it's a little more stricter there. It's a Bible Belt area, and they look at marijuana still as a class, as a Schedule 1 drug, which is worse than cocaine and heroin. Even though they don't sentence you like that, they still look at it that way in the South. In California, I would have been gone. But,
No.
you know, but that's what I got caught into. What I did was dealing with some guys that were taking the drugs, or I was mailing the drugs to them in the state of Memphis, Tennessee, which crossing state lines is a no-no, which I had to learn the hard way.
Right. I mean, I more looked at it as a situation as, you know, you said they get to pick and choose. So do you think it was like a targeted situation, or it was somebody within that deal that kind of disclosed information? Like,
No, they were investigating something else. They were investigating. I was dealing with guys that are gang related, gang members, and you know how they be on the gangs and stuff like that. And I was a, you know, casualty of their dealing with guns. They were, I guess, out of town. See, in California, we have a law where number one, felons can't buy a gun, but number two, you get a background check. And we can't get guns for 10 days after they do a background check. But I guess in other states, you can go in the store and buy a gun that day. And so what was alleged is the guys were buying guns in Memphis, Tennessee, and shipping them back to California. And that's what got the feds, the ATF involved. And that's what got us on their radar. And, you know, once they get on the phones, they start hearing everything you're doing. And they saw some text messages and some things concerning me doing things with them with marijuana.
okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I mean, I'm people. Shout out to everybody in the room. Much love to everybody. I'm taking my time with this because Reggie is an open book, so I wanted to get some things out the way before we get more into the impact details. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Your death row days. Like, why were you, Reggie Wright Jr. brought into the death row? Besides your friendship or whatever, what made you that type of asset that made them want to confine to you and use you for security purposes or whatnot?
And that was mainly because I had the respect, and my father had the respect of the guys that were his muscles. And so if you ever listen to the Mob James interview that was on Vlad, he pretty much told it. Reggie was pretty much there to keep us off of sugar gas. What meaning I was there to kind of be like, oh, no, you ain't going to do that to Suge. And the guys gave me enough respect where they wouldn't have tried things with Suge that they later tried. Once I left him, they would have tried while I was around. It was probably because of the law enforcement connection, the respect they had for me growing up, and the respect that they had for Reggie Wright Sr.
Okay, I mean, I understand death row. You know what I mean? It was a lot of things in death row that probably could have get a lot of people in trouble. And you're one that's very careful on, you know what I'm saying, what and how to say things. And I dig that because there's power in the wordplay. So what role did your father play into your life during the younger years? Because there's a lot of traits in you that I pay attention to. So like who helped your upbringing in that type of manner, and what did he do to make you the way you are today? Because I've been reading about your father here and there.
Yeah, my father was one that was growing up in housing projects. He had 16 brothers and sisters.
Jeez, and so you're like a Haitian family, man.
Yeah, so and he's a more of a community. He was one of the law enforcement or police type person that was before it was sociably okay to be a community type guy. Right. Fortunately, he got hired on when he was older. He was like 27, 28 years of age, which I'm an advocate of now. Because hiring the young guys, 21, 22, 23 years old to be in law enforcement, I just think it's too early because you don't have enough life experience.
Right.
And so but I think it was more so of his upbringing. His mother that raised him, my grandmother, she worked at the unemployment office. She was a woman that helped you get jobs at EDD and, you know, in Watts. And so he was just brought up with that type of a family. You know, they from New Orleans. If you know about people from New Orleans or Louisiana, huggy, kissy type people. You know, just good loving people. And like I said, Catholic, raised, came from a big family. And that was his mannerism. I was a little different. It took me a while to learn, but that was because I was 20, 21 years of age when I became in law enforcement. Right. And that's just too old because I didn't have enough life experience to learn how to deal with things. I was probably like these, these cops that are out here now. They're just out here abusing people and don't give a heck about people's rights and stuff like that. But my father was still working on me. Once I came 23, 24 years of age, it made me learn that, hey, man, these are not bad people. You need to change your way of thinking.
Right.
And I became more of a social worker type law enforcement officer versus an asshole or,
right. Revenge seeking.
Yeah, type of cop. But I went through that heavy badge, that heavy-handed. I went through that stage, but luckily my father stayed on me and kept telling me, "What are you doing? These are people you grew up with. These people in the same situation you in, or you grew up in. These are not bad people. Why are you like this? Where do you get this from?" So it took a lot of his training and his teaching to get me to learn that, hey, just because a person is out there maybe on the corner selling cocaine or this or that, they're no different than the guy that's sitting behind a desk at, a Xerox or whatever.
Right.
We all have issues, and nobody wants to be in a situation that's usually dealt with them. Everybody want to have a good paying job, be able to pay and do their stuff. Right. Everybody don't want to be bad. Right. Now, there's bad people out there. There's people that needs to be dealt with. Your child molesters and your rapists and, people that like to beat up on women and stuff like that. But everybody is not out there just wanting to be in a bad situation. They just somehow we just dealt with that situation and that hand's been dealt with us or dealt to us. And we just trying to survive, pay our bills.
Right. And everybody in the room, this is brother Reggie Wright Jr., the famous brother Reggie Wright Jr. I'm sorry I kind of started late. He got Cali time, and we usually have, the numbers, but we have a good number here today, and he's probably going to be family, but I want to get more deeper into things before I talk about the current events. As far as you being a young cop, somewhat of a teenager, I think it was, to 20 years old, me having a father, not a policeman, but a pastor figure in those type of neighborhoods. So in the Compton area, now we're in the midst of all these social change and cops and defund the police. What was it like with you being a black man, a young cop in the Compton area? Thank you, Miss 702, for the $20 donation. She said it's for you, Reggie. So Reggie, after this show, give me your Cash App information so I can send that to you if you don't mind.
Tell her much respect and I appreciate it.
No problem. Most definitely we got to do that. And let's get back to the Compton area. We're in the social climate of defunding the police and all that. I want to get through the mindset perspective of you. What was that? Forget about this era. I'm just trying to make you match it up. What was Compton like?
Like I said, they went through stages. You got to remember, I was in law enforcement in the 90s when it was right after the Rodney King and right before the Rodney King, when it was common area to do what the LAPD officers did to Rodney King. That was a common and that was considered norm, to be honest. After the Rodney King situation, then that's when people start realizing, okay, this ain't cool, this ain't right. Your ass gonna go to jail for doing stuff like that, which I thought we had got over that. But apparently not, because all of the crazy shootings and incidents that's been going on lately. But I blame that on lack of training and them not educating and updating all of the older officers with the body cameras and the cameras that's out there. And I really think that, cops need to be retrained about that. Why? Well, what do you care if somebody filming you or taping you? Because most of the conversations be because they got a camera in your face and doing that. You shouldn't care, Right. But a lot of cops get upset and they get themselves in trouble when their camera is on. And so I think we need to get retrained for that. The defunding of the police, I agree with it. I've been talking that for the longest about the park recreations.
Time
How
out. Slow
your
down, Reggie.
budget
Slow down, Reggie. You
is
just
eight.
said. So I'm gonna interrupt you rudely. You just said, and I'm just adding climax, but you just said you agree with defunding the police.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
No. Take your time. That just caught me off guard.
Okay. I'm saying because I don't mind the money going towards park and recreations and give the kids, because you got to start training the kids at a younger age and give them stuff. Give things where you have nice baseball fields and nice basketball courts and all of that for the kids to have options and computer programs and stuff like that. So if you're taking the money from there and putting it into programs like that, and when you have a guy just like that situation over in Rochester, New York, where if you would have had maybe a social worker or somebody out there to kind of diffuse the situation or talk to that mentally ill person, you might not have a lot of these deaths. So if you have a little bit more people like that responding to you, to the call versus a heavy-handed police officer, in my opinion, I think that's not bad. I'm not saying, if you're buying police cars every other year versus every year, or motorcycles every other year versus every year, and it's going to take a little bit from your budget, I don't have a problem with that. I know I'm on a, it's crazy hearing that from a law enforcement, ex-law enforcement person point of view, but I totally understand what he's saying. Put the money elsewhere, not like just taking it out of the budget, but if you're going to put it at other places and right places, I really, really believe that would help, because we got to start training the kids at a younger age versus trying to correct people when they're 18 and 19 years of age. Right. Because you're gonna save a few, you're gonna save some, right? But you'll save a whole lot if you start training them the right way and showing them different programs at the age of 5 versus the age of 20.
I mean, I don't think it's crazy at all, Reggie. I think it's refreshing to hear a cop say that, regardless of which route you would have went, whether you said you agreed for it or against it. Like, a lot of people are not really upfront honest, and I like that trait about you. Since we're talking about honesty here, Reggie, there's a character as part of your saga. If they ever do the Reggie Wright movie, which they should, and I'm pretty sure I'm 100% they will in the near future. There's another character that comes into your story by the name of Dillinger, and he made some accusations about you, and I remember you referred to him as a liar. Don't quote on me on that. What's your views about
Well, I totally agree with why Daz did that. I exposed Daz's wife, a person that he has 5 kids, 5 kids with. I told her how she was having an affair with Suge Knight.
Right.
So when a man say that about another man's wife and stuff like that, you open game.
That man said you open game.
I was open game because I put that out there. I put that in the universe. Right. And he was hurt. Daz know, he's saying that a day or two afterwards. So, but we see who got caught with a same type of charge, and they only got probation. So who's the snitch? Wow. But I'm not saying either one did, because that's not true. But I know how the marijuana laws are. But I totally, I get it. I can't be mad at Daz for saying what he's saying or feeling the way he's saying, because I exposed on Vlad, on other things, on his wife, his mother of 5 kids. His wife of 5. I'm saying it wrong. The person that had 5 kids by him was having a relationship with Suge. And that hurts. That would hurt me if someone said that about my wife.
No, man, rest in peace to the rapper FBG Doug. He used to say something about this one right here hurts the heart. And I want to ask you another thing, as far as, I'm going to ask you another question about the wife, but a quick follow-up. Daz, did he really ride on Keefe D for Tupac? I want you to just get that.
No, Daz, Keefe D back in the day. Keefe D now looks like a broke old bum, right? But back in the day, in the 90s, man, DPD was pushing, you know, maybe 100 kilos of cocaine a week.
Right.
My point to that is, guys like that got guys around them that'll do anything for you.
Right.
You know, we looking at Keefe right now in the toothless old man with cancer that's scared to death to go back to jail. He done been popped 3 times. You know, he was about to do a life sentence. And, you know, he told us the true story of what happened to save himself, his brother, and his sister. We're probably doing 25 to life. He don't want to be put in that situation no more. We eventually grow up. We eventually grow up, man. And I think that's what's gonna happen to Keefe D.
Right. Shout out to Keefe D, man. And I'm glad you put some points into that, but I didn't want to get away from Daz Dillinger. One more question for Daz and then we can move on. I'm just trying to get it out the way. Salute to the UK fans who are in the building. C-Law. You got UK people rocking with you, Reggie.
Yeah. I got my boy Ed Potts and Peter Levine and Jake C. I got some UK people over there. I got a troll that's gonna come over here eventually. His name is Alex from the UK. Gonna tell you how I did this and did that and all of that. But Maria was coming around, and actually, she and I had a good relationship. I the one that kind of introduced her to she because Dad was always beating up on her, and
wow.
and I used to, you know, be like her confidant or somebody that she could talk to, and so I introduced them and all of that, and she and I had a good relationship, and so he was out there talking about how he had all these Tupac masters, and he had all these reels and all of that,
right?
And so he had a studio at his house where they were living, and so, you know, we got close to her, and we got her to bring the studio. We got her to bring the reels that he allegedly had up to the studio, and then we didn't even tell her what we was doing. She didn't even know. We took the studios. They were big. See, back in the day, you had big boxes of reels that looked like the old movie projector size reels, and we just took and put blank ones in there and took the originals out. Now, whether anything was on those, we don't know because we didn't listen to them or nothing. We just put them away and stored them, and you know, I don't know if we ever listened to them or ever used them or anything, but that's what we did. But Daz don't have any music. Trust me, if Daz has some music, it will be all over YouTube. Anything that he had that wasn't on a DAT or like a remake, like he did a Usher remake or a Usher song, you know, when he put his vocals on that with Usher. He got a nice song out there that Usher had back in like 97 or 98. And Dad, you know, did something and did some rapping on it. And he would do stuff like that with some music. But as far as new album or a song, he would have, you know, shopped it to the estate. The estate will give him a bunch of money right now for songs like that. Anybody that have any unheard, because they can't distribute it through a nothing but bootleg, but the estate will pay you probably what you would make off this bootleg if you just brought it to them. Right. Because they're the only ones that'll be able to distribute it crazy. Where they get a good check, and you know, they will also pay you well to do it. They just did it with a bunch of films with this guy by the name of Gobi that had a lot of footage that I don't think was his, but they just gave him $250,000 just to buy him out. So the state is buying up everything or anything that's Tupac related.
I mean, shout out to Daz. I guess he's heavily talented, but respect to you for clarifying some things. Since we're on Daz and we're talking about why, let me see how far I could go with this interview. Now, Dr. Dre, before I go deeper on Dr. Dre, like, did you have any acquaintance situation with him? Like, how did you get along with Dr. Dre during your time with Death Row?
Dr. Dre is a good dude. He's a womanizer, and you know, he's a womanizer.
Right.
But he's a good dude. He's not for the drama. He's not for all that bullshit that comes along with that was going on with that bro. And that's why he did break away. Well, the main way he broke away is because Suge was having a sexual relationship with Michelle Lane. And that hurt him to know that his partner was having a relationship with his, baby mama. No matter if you want them not or still with them, it still hurts you to know that your partner, your business partner, your best friend is doing that. That's the real reason why Dre left Death Row. But the second reason was he didn't like him and DJ Quick are the two that really wasn't built like that. They really was just musicians.
Wow, you said they wasn't
people
built
that wanted
like that?
to make good music.
Reggie, hold on, slow down. You said they wasn't really built like that? Not that I think it's far-fetched.
That gang-banging mentality, that ride, beat them up, let's go beat up this person, let's do this, They were just guys musicians that just wanted to make good music.
Right.
They talk it and they act like it. They wasn't really built like that.
Oh, wow. I mean, I was literally going to ask you about, man, you really are open book, because the next question down the line was going to talk about the Miss Chalet situation, and Dr. Dre is going through a legal divorce battle with his current wife. And I'm more wanted to bring up the fact that she brought certain things, and you don't seem like a hater, because the first thing you did was give Dr. Dre his just due. So what's your intake and input on Dr. Dre going through this as far as his legal battle with his new current wife, and how do you perceive this situation? What's basically your whole take on Michelle Lay and the current divorce situation with his wife here? I just want to get an insight from somebody who's been around him.
Yeah. Well, this is somebody that was he's been with since about '94. She was Fidel Threet's wife. She a basketball player who used to play for the Lakers. She had 2 kids by him. Dre's been with her since then. Her name was Nicole. I mean, he's a billionaire, a young black guy, got himself in good shape. Hey, he was a womanizer. And I guess women after a certain length of time, they get tired of it.
Right.
He had always done it. But, I guess she figured this is the time to exit, They got a daughter. She has a daughter now that's 21, 22 years of age. And she probably didn't want to keep that, go on with, the daughter saying that. And if she walk away with $100 million, I'm sure she'll feel like she's the happiest woman in the world.
Right.
So sometimes you just get tired of it. And you get tired of the disrespect from the women. The women get tired of the disrespect. And I think that's what's going on.
Now,
Dre has 3. It's going to come out. He has more kids out there. He has 9 prior to that. But I'm sure he got some younger kids. And once the women hear about the younger kids.
See, since Reggie Wright knows about this, when them court proceedings take place with the wife, who seems like she want way more than $100 million, to each his own. Now, with her and Michelle Lay, you don't got to go deep on that. So the allegations of what Dre used to do to women, allegedly, did you see any circumstances of that over the years? How far-fetched are some of those allegations of Dre put in his hands?
I mean, it wasn't as bad as Michelle made it on the Lifetime show. Or maybe it was, but it didn't happen. In a TV show, everything seems like it's happening today and then tomorrow and stuff like that. So it might have been over a period of time that they had to cram in to make it look like it was happening in those close mixed time. Right. But Dre didn't love Michelle like that in 93, 94, 95. And quite frankly, Michelle ain't no saint. She was having a relationship with Suge. That's where Suge was getting all this information from. And so,
I mean, what was her situation with Suge? That's not really a question I wanted to throw, but you just been open. Did you see anything as far as before it even got public between her and Suge Knight coming out about and claiming that they're together now? Before it was even public, did you know some of these things were going on?
Oh yeah, I was with Suge getting there every day. I know. I know what was going on. I used to have to go to places. I remember going to What show was it? It was a show with Martin, the Martin final episode
Right, season
release
5.
party.
Yeah, season
Martin,
5.
the show Martin.
Right.
They had like a wrap up party on the final episode.
Right, I remember that season 5.
Suge couldn't go there with her in public. So guess who had to go and be her date? I had to go and take her and hang out with her.
Crazy.
You know, and so I knew that they were, you know, in a relationship. I mean, she was in Betty Ford. I went with them to pick her up for Betty Ford.
So she was going through.
In the back of the limo, they having sex the whole way back, you know.
So she was going through problems like that.
I knew the whole.
She got admitted to Betty Ford.
She was in Betty Ford. I don't know if y'all saw her on that show. She has a problem with. I don't know what she's doing now, and I haven't seen her in about 5 years.
Right.
But she had a major substance abuse, alcohol and pills, nature.
Wow. I mean, I gotta take your word for it because according to certain reports, and you can shoot this down if you want to, you and explain that a little bit more. You and Mache somewhat had your own close relationship.
Well, you know, I was like the guy that's always with him. I probably was just with him because I had the gun. I always had a gun around me, but I wasn't his bodyguard because she was bigger than me, stronger than me, and all of that.
Right.
But I was legal to carry a gun. And, you know, he was tutoring me alone to take care of his company as well. And because of the relationship, man. So I was always with him. You very rarely saw him somewhere if he wasn't in the office or something like that. But out in public, when I wasn't with him. Right. Very rare.
Did she ever hit on you? Because we heard allegations of her hitting on Tupac and several other artists, and how true those allegations are. And is she very promiscuous, like, towards you or other people who were part of this family?
Yeah, that's Dad putting that out there. She was just a touchy person, nice, but everybody that's close, Pop, myself, Country, we all knew that was Suge woman, and so we wouldn't have did that, and she wouldn't have did that. So that's just people not knowing or speculating, but trust me, people close to him knew since like 93, 94 what was going on.
That man says since 93. Thank you, Miss Sheree Reed. She gave another $20 donation to you, Reggie. We're definitely
oh, that's my girl, single. Is that single black? What's her name? Single black female?
Miss 702. Yeah. Oh, okay, he see you. Yeah, that's her, Miss Single Black Girl.
Oh, tell her hello. Tell her thanks. That's my girl from Vegas.
Okay, yeah. What the hell? Hey, Sheree, you better let me know who you plugged in with. This man. Hey, what? Let me. You just threw me off.
She wrote me a few times till I got a letter while I was locked down. Till I appreciate that letter. She said,
"Hey, Sheree, baby, Miss 702. This man Reggie's. Hey, this just blew me. Hey, shout out to Smoke Gang in the building right quick, man. That's why I try not to disrespect nobody I come across, and because everybody and their mama have some type of story, and that's definitely a story I got to talk with to her with. But she can hear you loud and clear, man. She can hear you loud and clear. Thank you, Miss Sheree.
She's a good lady. Till I told her she better not be single by the time I came home. I told her she better be married, black woman. But
shout out to Miss 702, man. The whole world listening to this. They can hear you, man. They can hear you. And that's very honorable about you to reach out to one of the Smoke Gang. That brought a smile to my face. I can't even fake that, man. That damn sure did, man. Wow. Hey, shout out to both of y'all, man. And I definitely want to, since I got a smile on my face, let me just throw this one in there. Shout out to Miss 702. I might as well, man, for the culture. Death Row was the hottest record label during that time. What are some of the most craziest, wildest things that Reggie Wright seen during this era? Like, this is just the kid in me. I'm 36 now, Reggie, and we talk behind the scenes, and you know I'm not a support only. I'm a fanatic behind this. I'm not going to even lie. So, things that you can share. What's some of the craziest things, man? Like, I need to know, man.
I mean, I don't even know what crazy is anymore.
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
I got to be asked questions I don't really know. I mean, it was good times. I mean, I done sat on the 50-yard line of, I'll tell you a story about just a place in Miami. I'll tell you about, since y'all Florida, right?
Yeah.
So,
Florida,
in 1995, we had made up with Luke, and we was doing a Super Bowl party with Luke.
Shout out.
And so we came. We were doing a club because Luke had his own club out there.
Right.
So this is the first time I walk into a club. So we go in the club. Luke on the microphone shouting out everybody in there because all celebrities coming in there. But in Luke's club, he had a little private room, and it had like gurneys in it, like like beds, like medical gurneys in it. He's
known from the private room.
And he had this special room. And I swear I walked in there, and do you know people in there having open sex, blowjobs, and everything in that room?
That's the famous room we heard about.
I'm straight off the street as a cop. I just walked in and see that was like, what the fuck? What is going on here? Also, that next night we had a big co-party with Luke and them. Right. And Snoop and Daz and Corrupt and them was going to perform after the Super Bowl. It was a Super Bowl after party.
Right.
And we go there, and at the club, there's a Luke doing his thing with his dancers and stuff. And somebody jumped on the stage or something like that, and he threw him in the audience. He threw him off the stage. One of his security, one of the people threw him off the stage. And I'm bringing Snoop and them on because they about to go get ready to, to perform and stuff.
Right.
And when I seen that happen, I was like, you know what, shit, we better turn around. Let's take them back to the car. It was about to get crazy in here. Shit. 2 or 3 minutes later, pop, 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 pop. Somebody got killed right inside the club at the Luke party, the Luke Death Row party. This was in 1995. That was unfortunately in the 90s. Every time we went out, there seemed to be occurrences like that going down.
Man, you ain't gotta tell me them eerie feelings of the death row in a good way, and that's somewhat made people flourish around you guys. The aura. Speaking of the aura, a lot of people know about Suge Knight's story. Can you tell us some of the stories of Harry O? Like as far as who is he and how did you know him?
Yeah. So what Harry O's deal was, he was in prison. They had he had an attorney by the name of David Kenner.
Right.
Harry O was kind of wrong for what he did, but then now being older, I kind of look at it differently. So say me and you go into business, right? I mean, me and you had this attorney. We got this relationship. I say, hey, man, you got anybody, I'll go to your attorney or whatever. You know anybody got some money? You're like, well, I'm doing bad right now. I just got arrested, caught this case, and, I'm fighting this case and all that. But let me ask John. John, if he got some money.
Right.
Hey, John, my boy BlessOne is trying to open up this company, and I need you to invest in it. Why don't you shoot him some money over? And so John said, okay, and gives you the money. So now I'm honoring the deal. BlessOne is honoring the deal with the one that shot the money. And y'all done forgot about old Reggie. Pretty much like Gangsta Chronicles doing me right now. Right. We'll get into that.
Oh, we're going to get into that. Man, you are open.
Yeah, but they kick Reggie to the side, to the curb.
Wow.
And they dealing with each other. But I feel like, hey, I'm the one that brokered the deal.
Right.
I'm the one that you're supposed to be dealing with.
Need your piece.
That's the Harry O situation. And that's what happened. Right. And so what Harry O did was he filed a suit in 95, 96 about that. Interscope cut him a check for $350,000. Said, hey, Harry O, here, $350,000. 98, 99, the government is on death row bad. All this stuff happened, Tupac incident. They're trying to get us. They're trying to take the company. So they got Harry to file a lawsuit, claiming, he testifying before the grand jury and all of this. They didn't end up getting no indictments or anything. But Harry O files his lawsuit. Now we was like, well, not me, sure, but I was gone because it came to head like 2003. And he's like, man, I done dealt with this already. I done already had Interscope give him $350,000. I ain't give that nigga no more money. We already bought him out.
Right.
But Harry O takes and Suge Knight Anderson and doing his due diligence with the attorneys and fighting the case. The judge gets so mad and gives $107 million default judgment against Suge. And to save all his other assets and stuff, he had to file for bankruptcy. And that's the Harry situation.
Thank you for talking about the Harry. Man, the chat is going crazy. I can't tell you the questions they're asking yet. Look, chat room, if you guys stick in there, I got questions for the culture. We gotta ask Reggie. Like, let me knock on wood. Me and him might not be here tomorrow. I don't want to put that in existence. So these are bucket list questions, and for the culture, I did my due diligence, and we're hurrying up to get that out the way to open the floors so you guys can build with him. The people who are respectful and professional, don't worry about it. And we're gonna use the StreamYard. I'm not gonna, because he's on the phone call. I'm not gonna make you guys call through the number. You guys are gonna click on the StreamYard. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to show your location. And we're gonna do it in order. But for right now, I got some more questions for you, Reggie. You were around.
No problem.
You were around during the time of Tupac and Biggie death. What was that like? If you do want to talk about that.
Like I said, I talk about anything as much as I can. I mean, Tupac death, that was probably one of the top 3 worst days of my life. The top 1 is when they kicked in my doors, so I got that replaces everything. But that incident, I mean, you can't imagine how my life was in September of '96. Right. Bad days. But it happened, and we learned life goes on, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it happened.
Can you share details?
Biggie situation?
I'm sorry about I'm talk about Biggie, but then I was gonna ask you, can you share some details about Tupac's death? But I didn't even have to tell you because it looked like you're about to open up as far as Biggie, so I'm gonna fall back. Go ahead, brother.
Well, the Biggie situation is just is basically this retaliation. Everybody want to say crooked cops and this and this. Don't make sense. But we have conspirators out there. And we have people out there that's trying to confuse everybody. And it is money for them, good money for them. And so that's why they try to keep it going with this stuff. But unfortunately, Biggie's was just a retaliation for lack of a better word.
Thank you. I'm going to go deeper on that a little bit later, and I'm pretty sure people are going to ask you a lot of questions about that. That's why I'm not going too deep yet. It was more, I wanted to use that. I wanted you to talk about the night of Tupac event when he died, but I got other questions to bring up. So I'll go to that a little bit later. I want to correlate it with rappers today, such as the likes of, how do you feel about rappers today getting killed? The King Vons, the Mo 3s. Rest in peace to FBG Duck. I want to get because you're security, you're all that, and former policeman in the hip hop sector. You are the culture, whether people want to accept that or not. And 97% accepted that. You are the culture.
Yeah.
So can you give us an insight, your opinion about King Von, Lil Boosie,
Well,
3, and and FBG Duck, and multiple rappers who died over just in the course of 5 years alone? We lost dozens, if not probably hundreds.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we lose a lot of people, and that's in that type of environment. It's our entourages and our people, our surroundings.
Right.
That it's hard to be like Russell Simmons and all of that. I saw an interview with Russell Simmons said, "Hey, I don't go back to the ghettos no more. I don't go there."
Right.
Where the perfect example of an album or how you lose your street credibility. By not having your ear to the ground, the Snoop Dogg's album, Dogfather. You look at everything he did up until Dogfather, and then after Dogfather. Right. You go really listen to the lyrics in that album, you can know that Snoop was on house arrest. All he really talked about was dolls and stuff like that. He wasn't talking about gangster stuff and the type of rap that he did on Doggy Style and the type of things that he did later on once he got with not Master P, but later on with the East Siders and the last album he did with Master P was a good album, you know, Lay Low and all of that. But my point is, unfortunately, the rappers can't pull it. You know, people, you know, like us, older and all that, we like, hey man, y'all making the money now. Y'all need to get away and go and go live in a nice house and get away from your people that you grew up with and all of that. But then you change, and then your music gonna change, and your thinking gonna change. You know, that's why LL Cool J and Dr. Dre and them, they can't do rap albums anymore. Right. They doing other things, you know. They can't go and rap and do stuff. It's going to be hard for Jay-Z. It's going to be hard to see what Jay-Z, even though he got other careers and he's big and stuff, but they can't do the things that they were doing 10 or 15 years ago. And so if you can get out of that and live through that, then great. Right. But unfortunately, you got to keep your, we call it keeping your ear to the ground and staying gutter. And you just got to hope you can get out of there and starting to catch up to a lot of people because of the gun laws. I mean, you know, the way they flash, way social media make you walk around with like a Brinks truck, pretty much. Right. You walking around with $150,000 worth of jewelry on, you know? You're a target. You having that type of element around you, and you walk around with $150,000 worth of jewelry on and driving around in a $150,000 car.
Facts.
And you're going into ghetto areas. But then if I go in the Beverly Hills or white areas or stuff like that, I'm a different type of target. And so they kind of caught in a bad situation because, you know, where their money status put them on, they don't want them there. And where the ghettos where they grew up at and or the people that they're around, you shouldn't be in that area either. So they're really in a kind of a bad situation. And I don't know how do you do it. That's why I believe you can't take care of a hood, but you better have 5 or 6 people with you that's with you. That and just take care of those like LeBron James did. He got 4 or 5 friends. Right. And they right. And they set. They, you know, he got them right. Right. And that's how you got to do it. And then those 4 or 5 people got to be able to deal and be willing to ride or die for you. Right. I mean, and unfortunately, that's how you got to be. People don't understand it. And they be like, oh, man, they supposed to just go. They making all that money. They supposed to just go live. But then you lose that edge. You lose the lingos, the street lingos. I understand it. I mean, most people be like, well, walking around with 4 police security guards with you. You need some homies with you. The police ain't gonna go to the club with you and hey, where the weed at? Where's tell that girl over there I wanted to come and holler at you. But your homeboy here go and say, hey, come over here and hang out with us. Come over here. Where's the dude at with the sack? And so I understand why you need that element around. So people, and plus you're taking care of your entourage and people around with you. Right. And that's what a lot of the guys getting caught up in because they still in the ghettos. They were just on Instagram showing like an old phone full of money and jewelry. And so I know you got $100,000. I only need $5,000 from you. And you told me no. And that $5,000 would help me do a lot of stuff for my mama, get my girl off me and all of that. And they came at like that a lot. But you can't. I heard Whoopi Goldberg one time say, I do things for people, but I can't take care of my money ain't long enough where I can take care of everybody. Amen. And that's where we put out there when we on Instagram showing stacks of money, showing $250,000 worth of jewelry, what people think is, which sometimes 9 times out of 10 is fake.
Right. I mean, the way these rappers, I'm seeing Lomo in the comment section, he put there basically crash test dummies. And I was going to ask you a question about Boosie. He basically got shot. while trying to go and pay his respect to Mo 3. And you kind of like, you articulate it in a good way, and I hope people and rappers out, and a lot of rappers watch this platform, which I'm gratefully honest and appreciative to say thank God. That's why I would never speak to people with your name and stature, the Jojo Capones of the world, if I didn't know people are watching. And because we know the world is watching this platform, and the upload is probably gonna get crazy numbers, and I'm gonna edit and do re-interviews of this very interview. Can you speak to the rappers today? Because you were once head of security for one of the biggest, this whole aura of what hip hop is, Death Row Records. Like, how do you feel about the security of these situations? How should have they handled it? Or how would Reggie Wright handle it if you were the head of security for all the King Vons, the Mo 3s, the Lil Boosies, even Lil Yaz, who recently just got killed, XXXTentacion, who just got killed?
What you would want to do is tell them don't go there. That's not what your mama, your daddy, all of them want to tell you. You don't have to go back in the good old, just stay away. But that's not realistic. That's not going to happen. Number one, the girls are not there. The weed is not there. I know people say, well, they can come to you and bring it to you. You want to be out there. You want to be keeping contact with the street. So it's not going to happen. Any security company or any security person tell you that I can protect you and make sure nothing happened to you, they haven't been tested. That's a lie.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's what happened to Boosie. I mean, Boosie was just going to visit, pay respects to his thing. But people thinking because he's Boosie, badass, he's coming into their town, and one of his Tupac just got shot, he's coming to bring drama.
Right.
When he was just really coming to pay respect to where his friend, where his Tupac got shot at. You know, him being Suge and then Tupac, because, you know, he was signed to him.
Right.
And so my point being there is that I think they did that to him because they think he was coming there to bring drama to their town or to the city, when all he was really coming to do is to pay respect.
Right. Thank you.
But he's supposed to. He got to do that, right? Tupac always to this day say that until he died, that Biggie and Puffy had something to do with him getting robbed at Quad Studios because they never came to pay him respect while he was in the hospital or while he was in prison.
Right.
And so, you know, I'm sure that's why Boosie felt he had to go and do some type of showing and pay respect to, you know, his friend.
Right.
But if he wouldn't have did that, most people would advise him. As a security guy, you would tell him, well, you know, people still in their feelings right now. We need to stay away right now. Boosie would say, well, bro, Reggie, you don't have to go, but I'm going. I'll take that chance.
Man, Reggie, besides one incident you had in your track record, your work is immaculate. I would love for you to protect my family with how much YouTube ops and trolls I got. So I would definitely use Reggie Wright just for your backgrounds. And let me break the ice a little bit, Reggie. I don't want... Folks, I see your questions, but if Reggie was a man in a rush, I would have made this interview an hour. I would have just read the comments, let you guys call in. But we're relaxing, grown man things over here. And let me break the ice a little bit. We had a recent battle between, and you say you like spontaneous interviews. Let me give some current events. You had Gucci Man and Young Jeezy situation where they made peace. Since we talking about rappers and shootings and death situations or whatever, they had a versus battle, and I'm pretty sure you know about it. At least I think you do. You're an informative dude. Oh, okay. Yeah. Can speak about that a little bit, about the Jeezy and Gucci battle right quick.
Well, I'm glad. I think Jeezy was the bigger man on that show, to be honest.
Wow.
I think Gucci, which I respect a lot because I learned a lot about him, that he's more of a CEO type. A lot of people got mad at me because I say even though Jeezy has a lot of radio hits, right, Gucci played more of his radio hits during the versus battle. Now I know everybody think Jeezy won or, won the battle, the verses and stuff. But that was mainly because of how he responded, I think, to Gucci playing the song talking about the situation that happened between his friends and everything when they were trying to, get at Jeezy.
Right. What do you feel about what Gucci was saying? Because I'm gonna disagree with you. I agree with you on some things. I personally felt Gucci won for a different aspect, and I'm gonna just tell you. And I thought, G, to me, if we're going on music and everything you said, you're absolutely correct. If we're going on music, right, and we're going about
Yeah.
as far as hits and what you just said,
And
Reggie
what was
Wright,
played, and what was played.
and what was played, you're absolutely correct. But if I'm going what Reggie Wright been through, what you've seen in life, and what everybody in the culture seen, like, how would Reggie Wright conducted himself? Because Gucci talked about your dead homie and said, I'm smoking on Pookie Low. For me, it just hit different as far as, I don't know if I, like, as a hip-hop fanatic, thank you for giving us that history, but as a dude from a certain, and I'm not a gangster by far, but I'm from those neighborhoods. And it's like, I don't know, bro. I've never seen that before. What was your take on that?
Yeah. I might have talked to, if we got a still cool relationship or a working relationship, I might have told him, Jeezy, you know I got to tap at you about that. That's my biggest song. That's one of my hits.
Oh, you
I cannot let that go for my fan base.
You were cool with Jeezy and CTE?
Huh?
You were cool with Young Jeezy and CTE?
If I was Gucci? Because they were talking with each other.
No, Jeezy, did you have a relationship with Jeezy at one point in time?
No.
Okay.
No, never did. Meech, Big Meech, we had some dealings with Big Meech when Big Meech was really promoting Jeezy heavy. You remember when he did he put like 100,000 mixtapes on the streets before mixtapes was popular. And was just giving them away. I mean, y'all boy Meech from out there from ATL.
Right.
That was a good dude. Good dude, man. Big Meech. That was a good dude.
Man, free Meech right quick, man. Let him come home, man.
Yeah. I can't wait till 50 do that movie. So people can learn about them.
Can you speak about that too? If you want to.
I don't know much about it.
No, just the qualities of Big Meech. Like, what's your opinion about the Big Meech situation?
I mean, okay, they were too flashy. They were, your boy Southwest Teeth is out now. He got out.
Yeah, I'm glad he got back in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. But I hear Big Meech got a lot of respect in the federal system as well. A lot of people respect him and got a lot of love for him. And he's doing real well. Him and Jimmy Henchman. Jimmy Henchman, he runs the yard. Stuff don't go down on that yard without his permission.
The Nightmare Henchman.
Yeah. But anyway, Meech, I just want to hear the story. I knew stories like where Meech would give everybody, all his homeboys, $5,000, $10,000 to go to the strip clubs with him.
Right.
And he would tell them, leave all that money at the strip club. Don't come home with none of that money. Don't be trying to keep that side. We go in there to take care of the working ladies at the club. If y'all need some money, let me know. I'll take care of y'all when we come back. But this money is right here. It's for us to party with tonight.
I mean, just the whole, I wanted to go deeper on Meech, but I feel like you had current things going on now because, like, you're very entertaining and you break things down. You had a great podcast that was called The Gangster Chronicles. Now, Mob James, how's your relationship with Mob James and what's going on with you and Alex Alonso? I'm just going to sum it up. Tell me about Alex Alonso, Mob James, and your whole the Gangster Chronicle podcast. What's the situation? I've been hearing some things as far as breaking up, getting back together, friendship wise. Break that down for us right quick.
Okay. Mob James is like my brother. So, you are with brothers. You have disagreements and all of that. Right. James is very opinionated on one side. I'm very opinionated on the other side. But I still love James. And me and James are 100. Alex Alonso, actually, we did a interview this weekend, and it'll be airing tomorrow on Street TV.
Right.
He came out and did an interview where we touched some subjects on the dossier, allegations and stuff. Podcast, the FBI agent Phil Carson, his new revelations, which is 6 years old, which is funny to me. But we did something that's going to be on there tomorrow that's coming out. But Alex, I kind of like the element that we had, meaning Alex, myself, and James. And from prison, I was hearing things was going more to an interview base versus just talking off the top of your cuff and talking about current events. And I didn't like where the show was going. And I felt that they were bringing people onto the show that I was a part of creating, that Gene deal, that if you were going to bring him on, they knew how to get a hold of me while I was in prison.
Right.
Have me on there to at least combat the things he's showing. Don't give him a platform to speak on a show where I'm a part of, and don't have me to be able to respond to it. And so little things like that is what got me irritated with them, and mainly because I didn't like how they did my boy Alex Alonso, right. Because I'm loyal like that for some reason, and that's why I decided to step away from Gangster Chronicles, but not Digital Soapbox. Right. I'll still be dealing with some things on Digital Soapbox. I got a new show coming out with Doggy Diamond.
Shout out to Doggy.
Well, we're going to do a show called Rats. Well, we're going to expose people, all the big name people in the neighborhoods that's just getting on the stands, testifying on people, and
on that demon time.
Walking around here like nothing happened. And so that's the podcast that I'm currently in the process of working out.
Damn, so you out here trying to expose people, man?
That's what I'm about, man. Yeah. Guys be walking around trying to act like they this and they that.
Right.
And you know, once you go in that Fed system and go into prison for a while.
Now you got a friend of yours, Greg Kading, and I don't know if he's a friend or not, and I know his conspiracy around the Biggie murder or whatever and what he talked about. There also was a friend of and I don't know if you know the guy or not, Russell Poole's sudden death after investigating the Biggie murder. Do you want to speak about that as far as people are now tying Greg? Well, I don't want to bring up that part, but what's your opinion about Detective Russell Poole and the Greg Kading?
Russell Poole was a conspirator. And if you go to my station bomb first, you'll see how I've been putting out the people that he based his evidence on. If you look at any of these people, well, number one, they all retracted their statements. Every last one of them.
Right.
But if you look at any of them, you'll be like, Suge Knight or Reggie sat down to carry out something. It's a guy from prison. Every time something went down, we had to call him to get permission to do something or to make something happen, according to him. Right. I mean, these are just people that's informants that's trying to get out of prison and will tell you anything. But once it's time to go and sit before a federal judge, oh, well, maybe it didn't happen that way.
I mean, they made a movie about him, and they canceled the movie. Did they cancel it because of alleged police corruption, or did they cancel Russell Poole's movie because it was featuring Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker, and I think it was called City of Lies. Who Shot Biggie? Why did that movie get canceled? Do you know anything about that?
I seen some paperwork threatening to sue because of some of the stuff that was been said that's been disproven, and they were starting to rehash old stuff that's been disproven and that people was recanting. And that's why this guy with Phil Carson and them, now they want to come because they know they opened up themselves up to a lawsuit. And so that's why they now kind of like saying, okay, well, we can go on both platforms and let's just talk about it and clear up everything. Because things that have been proven, but y'all still want to put theories on there to mess up my name and my relationship. And, you know, I have kids now that's a lot older. You know, in 95, 96, they were babies. And we didn't have internet and YouTube and all of this stuff out there. But now these people are older and you know, this internet, you know, it can really mess up people's names. And people are saying, well, this guy's talking a lot. He's done a lot of interviews. Why is he doing that? Well, y'all got to remember, none of y'all ever saw a picture of me or knew who the hell I was until about 2012, 2013.
Right. I mean,
and and most of y'all just knowing about me now today, and the other few that did know about me just in the last few years. But that was because I was being quiet. And look what got out there. I'm sure there's people in there that's like, oh, this guy doesn't want to set up Biggie. He don't want to set up Tupac. But that's because you just heard things. You haven't sat down and put the energy to investigate things. It's just what you done heard and what people done put out there. And unfortunately, we everything that we hear and see,
it's not what it appeared to be, right? And unfortunately, that snitch jacket get thrown out a lot. People don't try to, like you say, do their own research. People don't try to get engaged to actually really be. I'm not gonna even say a journalist. Just stop being a he say she say individual. And speaking of he say she say, thank you by the way for even getting deep on that, Reggie. I mean, back in the days, we know about Snoop's back and forth with Suge Knight. Have you ever seen it get out of hand between Snoop?
Never.
Never?
Never. With Pac and Snoop, about a week before Pac getting shot, at the MTV Music Awards, they had an altercation because Snoop went and got on the radio station and pretty much said he don't have a problem with Bad Boys and Biggie and Puffy, and he wouldn't mind doing music with them. And Pac took that as a big diss, where he was running around hollering, "I'm a dead man now. I'm a dead man. They know we're not family. They know we're not united. We're not one. And I'm a dead man." And he hated Snoop up until that time. Now, in fairness to Snoop, that happened that week. I really believe they would eventually sit down and work it out. I really do believe that. But that's Snoop's mannerism. Pac was like me. He's spontaneous and was a hothead. And so he would get mad, but Pac was also smart. And once Snoop would have said and they would have went and talked and worked it out, I really believe it would have got worked out. But unfortunately, that's why we got to kiss our loved ones, give our flowers to people while they're alive.
Right.
Because we never know when we're going to leave. And that's why I tell and encourage everybody to, if you got problems with your parents or your brothers, your sisters, if you do whatever you can to try to mend that, because you never know when it's going to be one of you guys' last thing, and then you have to have that guilt. But I'm sure that guilt kills Snoop deep down.
And you can see it in his eyes when Snoop has certain, like, he rarely even speaks on it anymore. So I'm pretty sure the impact was crazy. Since we're talking about Pop, Reggie, since you were the head of security of Death Row during these days, like, what did Tupac mean to you, and what did you mean to him, and could he trust you?
I only knew Pop for 11 months, but within the 11 months, we probably saw each other at least 5 days of that week. Now, in fairness to me, to him, I was more close to Suge on the management side of the record company, and I dealt with Suge a lot. I just hired security guards. I had security guards that worked for me that was assigned to Pop. And so to say I was sitting around on movie sets or sitting in the studio with him and all of that, that's not true. But I'm the one that was in charge of assigning security guards to him or making sure somebody was there and he wasn't by himself. At least one guard was with him at a time, or letting him know that, hey, we about to leave to go to this place. We're going here, we're going there, especially when we was out in public.
Right.
But how often do you really go out? We probably had 15 events in that 11 months where we went somewhere, Saturday Night Live in New York, award show, video shoots, stuff like that. But so to get up here to try to say that, I was closer to him than, the Outlaws or anything like that, I'll be lying.
Right.
But he knew who I was. He, if I told him, hey, we need to do X, Y, or Z, he was listening, all right, Reg, okay. All right, cool. We had that type of, working relationship.
Right.
But it was mainly on the, I'm not saying I was over him or anything like that, but a management side or working for the label versus, not being one that worked in his crew that he had working for him, meaning the Outlaws, Yasmin, Fula, or people like that, Molly.
Right.
I wasn't in his circle like that.
No, I mean, thank you for acknowledging that. A lot of people wanted to know questions like that over the years, and I heard you mention Diddy and Bad Boys earlier. I wanted you to tell me, can you tell us about the alleged bounties of the Snoop Dogg? I mean, not the Snoop Dogg allegations, but Diddy putting a bounty on Death Row Change and incidents that surrounded during that. Can you give us insight? What was going on during those days when the alleged bounties and all that, and how hectic and now I'm not gonna say scary, but dangerous it could have been or already was.
Yeah, okay. Well, you got to remember, we thought we was untouchable. We started calling ourselves the Untouchable Death Row for a minute.
Right.
But we did something with, Suge was having a relationship with Misa, which was Puffy baby mama.
Sheesh,
and
who did Suge
he
not
came in
sleep
town.
with?
She came in town. There's a picture out there where we had Puffy's son holding up a Death Row chain. I think it was Justin, whichever is this Misa kid, holding a Death Row chain.
Right.
And so that hurt Puffy, which would have hurt me. And so Puffy wanted a Death Row chain to put in one of his music videos or for some reason. And so he put a bounty out there, to get the chain. Orlando Anderson and them saw them because they were cool with this. They were from Southside Crips.
Right.
It was about 3 or 4 of them or maybe 5 at a Foot Locker in Compton. You already got this blood and Crip thing, so they probably would have been fighting even if they didn't have a Death Row chain on, just because of the neighborhood stuff that we got going on. Right. And they saw each other at the Foot Locker, and a fight broke out. Some people said he took the chain, and Trayvon didn't lose his chain. They just tried to take the chain, and it was a big fight, and they held the chain.
I mean,
this happened. This is the Foot Locker incident.
Yeah, that's the
few months later.
One.
That's what caused Trayvon to see the guy. He says his story is that he went and was talking to his big homies, talking to everybody that was in there, not like people put out that he whispered in Pac's ear. He said, no, I didn't go whisper in Pac's ear. Trayvon's version is, they all were standing around, and he just wouldn't tell them, hey, there go that nigga that tried to take my chain from me at the mall. Pac, being the type of person he is, Pac was loyal. I mean, you got to remember all the incidents he done been involved in, from shooting to the police, and he was a writer. He was, he was tick off, and knowing that probably he knew that everybody would follow him. He runs over there, runs at the guy, take off, and drops him and hit him. And that's when the entourage, catches up with him and do whatever they did to him. Right. And so that's what happened behind the chain. That's the whole chain incident.
All right, man. Thank you for that. Like, you explained your relationship with Tupac. Now, how was the relationship between both stars of the rap group, Tupac and Snoop Dogg? Because you once said that, allegedly, you need to tell me if it's true or not, when Pop went crazy over Snoop giving praise to Biggie Smalls at a radio station. What was that about?
Yeah, that happened. That happened the night of the MTV Music Awards, which was like September the 3rd, September the 2nd, whatever that Monday was. The Monday night after the MTV Music Awards, I took him. I was there when we went to the radio station, and we went to the radio station to get on the radio. I think it was it Angie Martina?
Yeah, I think it was Angie Martina. Yeah, correct.
And she asked him, hey, she asked him about the New York song. He was saying, hey, we wasn't trying to diss. We was pretty much paying homage. We was, we didn't make no money off that song. That, Grandmaster Flash got all the money because it was their original song, right. The beat. And so he was like, so he was there being the politician that he is. And he, he was pretty much saying, I don't have no problem with Biggie. I don't have no problem with Puffy. I would work with them. Right. I don't know if he knew what he was saying. I really don't think so, because there was no need for him to say it. But you got to remember, 3 or 4 months ago, he just got on the stage and asked him at the Source Awards, New York, y'all don't love Dr. Dre, I don't know Death Row and Snoop Dogg, at the source of war. So he always felt like a big love. Snoop always knew he's going to be where he's at to this day. Today, Snoop used to say he's going to be bigger than Michael Jackson at one time. Wow. That was his whole claim of fame back then. What you got to remember, he had just beat Garth Brooks for Male Artist of the Year, which Garth Brooks, country music singer, in '95. That was a big accomplishment for him to win that award at the Billboards in either '94 or '95 Billboards award. So Snoop was on his way there, but that's how Snoop was more marketing Snoop Dogg, which was a smart thing. And so he wanted to be loved on both East Coast and West Coast, and he felt like Pac was alienating the East Coast because of his misunderstanding. Because Pac tried to explain to people that, hey, I don't have a problem with the East Coast.
Right.
I have a problem with certain motherfuckers on the East Coast.
Small riffs.
And most people didn't. They weren't comprehending because everybody was getting upset. Jay-Z, Fat Joe, everybody, Mobb Deep, everybody was always, they were taking offense to it. And so that's why he did hit them up. And he named the people that he had a problem with to try to even clarify it there.
Right. I don't know why when you said hit him up, I allegedly thought of a prominent name in this whole saga story of Death Row, whether he was with Death Row or not, or whatever. And I know you know this name very much, and I asked myself, should I bring the name up? Rest in peace to him. But Orlando Anderson, what was he like? And could he really? There was a rumor he was supposed to be the next rapper up after Tupac, and even cops knew about it. I wanted you to talk about that. I heard you laughing a little bit.
We don't know that kid. That kid wasn't around us like that. That was a kid from the most rival gang in Compton with the Mafia rules of the blood.
Right.
She was not signing no. She don't even know who Orlando Anderson was.
Right.
And that's their theory that he was trying to meet. He's at the MGM fight night with all of this going on, and he's trying to hand a CD or a cassette tape to Tupac. That's why he's hanging around. I see white boys in that conspiracy, man. I tell you, white folks. That's the old men that then came up with this shit in 2008, 2009 to justify stuff. These are people that putting all of this negative stuff and this conspiracy stuff are people that didn't know who Tupac Shakur was, admittedly. 2013, of course, Russell Poole, probably 99, 2000. And then R.J. Bonds didn't know who he was until about 2002, 2004. And they done put out all of this stuff and did documentaries and books off of this, just to make money off of the culture and the unfortunate situation that happened.
Unfortunate, Reggie. A lot of people are the only reason I brought that up. You got Keefe D is allegedly saying all these things, and Keefe D, was many people know, Keefe D, he says a lot of things, and even the Vlad TV of the world has compilation videos of him doing, court jester type behaviors. No disrespect towards Keefe D, but allegedly your father, Reggie Wright Sr., he alleged, and this is allegedly, you can shoot it down if you want to, he threatened Keefe D basically after Tupac murder. Care to explain that?
He said that, it was words on the street that was coming out there, and I asked my father that. I said, well, you wouldn't say. He said, yeah, that's true. He said, I want to keep you there, told him, nothing better not happen to my son, behind the shit y'all got going on. Right. He said, because I wasn't working as a cop anymore. I was, over at Death Row and gone. And I asked him, so what you? He said, oh, yeah, I did that. He said, I went over there and told that nigga, hey, I don't know what's going on. And we go, but nothing better not happen to Reggie Jr. And so there's some truth to that. But as far as threatening them, I guess that is a threat. I don't know. But y'all got to understand Reggie, how he, for lack of a better word, he ran the streets of Compton. Right. I mean, That's the type of respect he had with all the guys in the city of Compton. But he was over the gang and narcotic unit in the city. He was the lieutenant at the time over all of that. So of course he's gonna have a lot of juice in a city like that.
Right.
And he came from a housing projects where most of these guys' parents lived in. If you know anything about the LA Watts area, it's like 4 housing projects.
Wow.
The Imperial Course housing projects, the Jordan Downs, the Nickerson Gardens, and there's one more. Jordan Downs, Imperial Courts, Nickerson's, and you got Regina Village. You got some, the Pueblos. You got a bunch of housing projects, and he grew up in one of them. And then he later on coached a lot of the kids in basketball coming out of there. And so he had a lot of respect in the city, right. The city of Washington, Compton.
All right, man. Much respect to your father, because I used to coach youth sports as well, and I know it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of energy too to deal, especially disadvantaged youth as well. So much respect to your father, and I'm actually later.
I'm surprised that you're not for the money going to the recreations and stuff like that from the defunding of the police and putting it back into the park and recreations, because you know the importance of having a place for the youth to go instead of being out on the corner and having good programs and good gyms and good.
Hey Reggie, it kept me from getting killed, man. Playing sport, people don't believe it. It's not a cliche. Playing sports in the neighborhood me and you and a lot of people come from, it does keep you. Because a lot of my homies who ain't here today, let's go do this and that. I had practice and stuff, so. Yeah, I agree with you. It gets you out the way. I'm not saying it makes you become a holier or thou person, but if you could stop time periods from you doing stupid stuff, yeah, man, I still give my money then. Shout out to my twin brother and his kids. He got in football right now. I want to get back to you, Reggie. So I want to hurry up a little bit of questions because I know people want to ask you, but I'm not going to really hurry up too much, but I'm going to expedite a little bit. Being that you were the head of Death Row and you take your work serious, did you ever get blamed for Tupac death, and how did it make you feel, regardless of what side of the spectrum people try to blame you on of it?
I never got blamed for the death or anything that I got blamed for. It was my security hitting me. But Suge and I have never had a negative conversation with each other about it.
Right.
But it was just, it was supposed to be true security on Tupac that night. And one guy by the name of Kevin Hackey didn't show up, which put us at a disadvantage.
Right.
The company, even though I'm still an avid believer that even if they were there, what could have happened? The people that were behind them as well, meaning the homeboys,
right.
They chased that car down. They shot that car up. You know what I mean? Those were the guys that I would prefer riding down the street of Vegas shooting.
Right.
My security was there they were there for being a good witness. Supposed to be able to ID, get a better description of the car, get a license plate if possible, be a good witness, which I always blame Frank for not doing. But other than that, people think security was supposed to, have like an armored car protection around that person. Pac wasn't gonna be like that. Michael Jackson would be like that. He'll sit in between two security guards and riding 5 deep in the car. Tupac wasn't gonna be riding 5 deep with no security right. in the car.
I mean,
we'll try to put him in something like that. He would even put him in a bulletproof car in Vegas. It wasn't happening. We had a bulletproof town car,
right?
But you got to Vegas is like Miami. You bring your best car out, your drop top, you're trying to be seen. People talking about a bulletproof vest.
Right.
Go wear a bulletproof vest and it's 110 degrees. Going to a club? No.
I mean, you expounded on it more than I wanted to, and thank you for not being offended by some of these questions, man. You the definition of what an alpha male is, and not emotional. Thank you for sharing it too with the smoke gang. I got some more questions because I'm this where the nitty gritty gets a little bit deeper. This is where we go. It doesn't go left at all. We're right on track. This not talking about the if you well, first of all, let me say it out the way. Do you want to speak about the mob Piru members? Because there's over 10 members allegedly that died from the blood members set known as mob Pirus.
Yeah, that was 10 members of the mob Piru area. This is over a time period from now. I mean, from
and by the way,
95
over
currently.
Let me quote your words. Over dumb. No, I don't want to say dumb arguments, but over arguments and disagreements. Now you can continue. My bad.
Okay, and those are things that happened between break off when Suge and I broke off. Some guys were with me, some guys were with him. There were some shootings back and forth between people that once they got let go, that they went back to the street mentality. There are some things where some people took some cars, and guys that were still around was trying to collect cars from guys that, low riders and stuff like that. And so you had internal fightings about things like that that went down. This is dividing people over money, cars, and stuff like that. But the 13 people that died after the Tupac shooting, that's a totally different number of shootings and deaths that went down. That was a totally different war.
Right.
So we did have a civil war, and then we had a war after Tupac, right, which 2 or 3 people on our side lost their lives, and 10 or 12 people on their side got either shot or died. When there's reportedly, I'm sure it was probably more incidents.
Right.
Because Davy Lane, Orlando got shot in his legs, but that wasn't ever reported anywhere.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's this before the shootout that got him killed, right? Allegedly.
Yeah, before he got into another shooting dealing with hood stuff, a dope deal. He was dealing in drugs and stuff. And he saw a guy that owed him some money, and he went after him to confront him. And shootout
escalated.
When escalated, yeah.
I mean, I should ask you questions about Buntree and Monkey and all that, although allegedly I'm hearing that people didn't even really call him Monkey Man. But I want you to more stick to the mob, because I'm going to allow the fans to ask you that about Buntree. I more want to stick to the mob Piru, clique, gang, alleged activities. What are some of the most crazy things you've seen having these type of groups around, whether as security, as the homies, artists, whatever? What's some of the most that you can legally talk about or share with us today?
I mean, it was just the infighting. People bucking for positioning and the jealousy,
right,
of one guy getting more. I hated how shit played everybody against each other.
Talk about
he was a master of that. And then he'll say, well, Red said this, or Buntree said this, and then cause problems between the other persons and get them going at each other because he wanted to get rid of one of them, and that'd be his way to get rid of somebody. And that's why a lot of the infighting happened between each other.
So the mob rules basically were like disadvantaged youth who looked at, I'm not going to say they looked at Suge as a father figure, but the analogy, he was like the dad, and they were the misplaced kids who thought he loved this kid more or that, and they basically unleashed on each other.
Yeah, and they only cared about the money and cars and stuff like that. They didn't care about, because this person went on this trip, or this person did that, or this person was mentioned in a song, or this one wasn't. It was just all about the money. Or this person got this car, and this person waiting on his car to come, or something like that, where people got played against. And, because there was just motorcycles that was involved, low riders that was involved, and, and nice cars that was, involved. And so a lot of that happened. and that caused a lot of the infights. That's what happened between Ron and George Williams, who y'all call Monkey Man, who was G. It was behind a car, and they had kidnapped George and held him hostage, but they didn't kill him. They didn't let him go. But a guy like that, you got to kill. You can't let him go. He came back and went on. Came back and went on a. He killed Ron, and a couple other people.
Man, rest in the peace to the deceased. I'm gonna let y'all ask him more questions about the Pirus and Buntree and everybody else, even Poochie I didn't even mention yet, because I'm more on the follow up with you. I'm more trying to make them get to know you, Reggie. And speaking of get to know you, we're talking about infighting or whatever. A lot of people with the quote unquote clout and names like throwing each other's name out, might have some type of difference of opinion or beef. There's a man by the name of Choke No Joke, and he wanted to know why you and the alleged, basically you had an alleged immunity in both the Biggie and Tupac murders.
Yeah.
He also said claims about Orlando Anderson not being the alleged shooter. Those two things, can you chime in on the Choke No Joke situation?
I don't shout him out. He's a snitch. I don't deal with snitches. Okay. I told you that. I just got out of jail.
Off the gate. But, God, slow down, Reggie.
He's a bona fide rat.
I'm a fall back. Take over, Reggie. I'm a fall back. Damn.
But I'll answer his question. I was. That's where he get misquoted because he's listening to Gene Deal, who's another loud talking female, in my opinion. But he. I was offered an immunity deal. I never took or had a need for an immunity deal, so I don't have an immunity deal on either case. Number one, the feds can't deal an immunity deal, which Greg Kading and them was a federal task force, but they had no authority of the Las Vegas case. Vegas PD was not a part of the task force.
Right.
So I don't know why people keep saying that, but they like to say that. But that's the truth. Vegas, KPD don't even have a immunity deal on Vegas incident. If Vegas wanted to or had the authority to prosecute KPD on his statements, they could if they wanted to. They haven't because you have crazy people all the time coming in, copping out to murders and stuff. You have psycho people do it all the time for attention.
Right.
That alone is not enough for a prosecutor that alone is not enough for a prosecutor to take you to trial. Just because I said, I killed Ronald Reagan, or I'm the one that shot JFK. You got to have more to it. You got to have guns. You got to have other things to connect you to the case.
Right.
So that's the thing about the immunity deal. I don't have an immunity deal. I was offered one, but I told them I didn't need it once I learned what they were investigating me for. Because when the feds came knocking on the case door, I didn't know what the hell they had on me.
Right.
And that's the Greg Kading task force he's talking about. The second part of your question was
Orlando Anderson.
What about him?
Basically, he no choke, no hold is claiming that Orlando Anderson wasn't the alleged shooter.
Oh, well, he get that from Suge, because Suge believe it was Big Dre, the other person that was sitting on the passenger. He don't believe KPD statement that he reached over. Suge don't know what he believe. I got 3 on Bomb First right now on my last video I put up. I'd have had him saying 3 different things in the last 5 years about who did it.
Right.
But that audio was copied and pasted when it even says Reggie. He said the same circle of people did it because he's still blaming Southside for having something to do with Biggie's Small's murder and Tupac. So he said the same circle of people, he's talking about the Southside Crip. So my point is there, if he just believes Keefe is lying about Orlando, he believes, or he's trying to say either Keefe did it or Big Dre did it. But because of where Orlando was sitting, he was sitting on the passenger rear seat and not the driver rear seat. Big Dre was sitting on the driver rear seat.
Right.
And so you would suspect that Dre was the one. But KPD tells you, Dre punked out. Dre didn't want to do it. Orlando said, "Give me the gun," and he reached across and shot him. People always want to try to say, "Well, Keefe did this lie, and he just made that up. He's a cover-up. He's a pawn. He's this, that." LAPD, number one, and they were federalized on the Biggie Small murder. They had no authority whatsoever on the Vegas murder.
Right.
If they're going to have Keefe D lie, what would you have him lie for? The case that you're working, which was the Biggie's murder. He has no immunity agreement, once again, on Vegas. They have no authority. That's a different state. That's just like trying to say you got immunity from New York police for something that happened in Miami, Florida.
Right.
You don't even have no authority in that state as a cop. You're not even recognized as a cop once you cross state lines. You know that you have first responder background and information. You know that.
Most definitely, this procedure.
Federally,
right.
Federal agents, a U.S. federal attorney can't give you immunity on a state case.
At all.
Capital murder is a state case.
Right. Different jurisdiction. Facts. I agree with
Donald Trump, y'all gonna learn. Y'all gonna learn in January the difference. Because that's what's gonna happen to Donald Trump. Your fan, your boy. Donald Trump is he gonna do whatever he can to make sure he's good federally.
Right.
But that's why they keep saying, who's going to go after him? New York state attorney is going to go after him.
Most definitely. I've seen that already. Right. They already built
and
it
he can't give himself immunity from that. He has no authority over the state of New York. So that's what people don't understand. But that's the internet, and that's what people like to throw out. But
Reggie.
everything is explainable once you hear it out. Once you talk about it and ask the questions, and if you want to hear it, it all makes sense.
Man,
but if you don't want to hear it,
you're an open book, and you broke it down. You've been speaking for almost 2 hours, so I got like 4 more questions to ask you so we can get to the people. And it's gonna be just regular things like, have you ever seen Jay-Z or knew about him or met him in his ways? Like, what's your opinion on Jay-Z, especially during that era in time? What was Jay-Z like during these
Jay-Z, the only problem we ever had with Jay-Z was he's telling to be quiet, leave the shit alone. And Jay-Z always thought he was the writer for Biggie.
Right.
Don't have no problem with Jay-Z. Yeah. How can you hate on somebody that's got the baddest bitch in the game? And number two, he's gonna be a billionaire if he's not already one.
Right.
And I'm not saying money is, because money is not the root of everything.
No. Understand where you're coming with that. I like hearing that, Reggie. To be honest with you, because I like the drama and the beef. But you've been giving us an open response, and I'm gonna get off Jay-Z because you gave that response. It was just more somebody asked me. I told only one person behind the scenes I was doing this interview, and I wanted to do that for New York one time because I lived over there. But since we're on New York, and you brought as far as allegedly choke no hold is a rat dude out here. What's your take for the culture? We want to hear your take as far as you used to be a policeman, you're in hip hop culture. Mm-hmm. Well, and give a quick summary. How do you feel about 6ix9ine in general? You could even say 5 seconds.
Well, like I always said, now after going into the system, going into and being around guys and doing time and having friends that in jail for 10 to 20 years because a co-defendant couldn't just shut their mouth, shut up, and they just wanted to talk to save themselves.
Right.
I have a problem with it. I have a problem. If you're going to do the crime and do stuff, stand there and take whatever the system's going to give you.
Amen.
But when you got to go and try to save yourself and shit on somebody else, I have a problem with it now. I only tell you, cops don't even respect rats. You look at 48 hours, and people snitch on themselves and do.
and they be nice to you and give you cigarettes and do all of that.
Newport,
As soon as you say what they want to say, they get out of the room, they turn on you,
give each other
and they give each other a high five.
You're right. Mama, you got me rolling. First 48 when you said that, my wife somewhere laughing because I don't watch that show. I'm not judging snitch or coming at them. It's not that the fact that they're snitching I'm mad. It's how easily they're broke. You know what I mean? I understand if they give you 100 years of you break that easy, bro. They're not your friend.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to stay on 6ix9ine. I don't want to do that with Reggie Wright. Like, and we got two more questions to get to the people. I want to know from you. I wanted you to talk about Tupac relationship with Keita Jones. Then I'm gonna ask you a culture question for two people: Keita Jones and Jaguar Wright. And we out the way. And the last question.
I could actually Jaguar Wright. I don't know anything about.
Then forget about that.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay. What about
you
Keita
seem to be
Jones?
a loudmouth like me.
Yeah, that's
talk. So I don't know anything about her. So I can't speak on her. And the other person was who?
Keita Jones and Tupac relationship.
Oh, Kadada.
Yeah, Kadada. I'm sorry, I butchered that name.
That was a usury situation, I think. I mean, she had was introducing Pac to Versace. He was getting into the modeling and, all the stuff that the people are doing now. He's already an actor, right. And, doing the acting role. He was trying to build a brand, outside of the rap. And that's why he had the relationship with Kidada. Her daddy was Quincy Jones, a legend in the business.
Right.
He liked messing with little boys, but
educational purpose. Wow.
Kevin Campbell and people like that. But other than that, he's still a legend in the game.
Right.
And so, but you see, I seen an interview once where I did with Art the Dialogue channel, and on that channel I talked about how she was on there talking about I couldn't do nothing, I couldn't go nowhere for 8 months. I was just locked down. Well, I showed you how she was dancing with bad boys 6 months later and hanging out with them, taking pictures with Puffy and hanging out with them at the Vibe party.
Wow.
She had a tattoo, the Tupac on her. I asked her where that tattoo's at now. Just stuff like that. So I think there was an opportunity, a business decision
right.
on both sides. Pac would have never settled down and married at the age of 25.
Right.
She was the type of broad that was around there at the hospital telling us that she was pregnant.
Oh, man, what is
anybody,
like my baby mom.
Anybody know? So what happened to the baby? Did you lose it, Kidada?
Right.
What happened to the baby? But we all know, we know what happened with the shooting incident at the quad. We know how many testicles he have. I don't think it's humanly possible. I don't know. I'm not no doctor, but I've been told if you only have one testicle, you can't have a baby.
So Tupac had, well, that's new information. I mean, I heard certain things, but so Tupac only had one testicles left, educational purpose? After the quad studio incidents, right?
But you know what? That's something I don't know. I just heard.
Okay, allegedly.
That ain't something we sat around and talked about.
Right.
But that's something that I heard, and I just hate that she put stuff like that into the universe.
No,
I'm not just talking about Kidada. You asked about Kidada. I hate really talking about people.
We could get off that
personal relationships and stuff like that because like we gossiping like two little women.
No, yeah, gossip with the T channel, right? It's part of the saga, and I want to just throw it out there. That's why I saved it for last. I'm the same way. I could really care less, but for the culture. In fact, we're gonna even get off of it now. Thank you. I didn't really know much about her until somebody hit. I just heard about here and there. You gave me more than I needed to know. Thank you for that, brother. And I'm gonna get back to this here. Last question. I was gonna ask you about Jeannie Dill, but we'll leave that one alone for now. Last question is, what's your top? So we can get to the people.
Did you say Jeannie Dill or Jeannie Dill? Did you call him Jeannie Dill?
Jeannie Dill, yeah.
I called him Jeannie Dill. That's what I thought. You called him Jeannie Dill?
Yeah. Just, I mean that.
Gene Dill. Everybody say he's the truth. He tells the truth. He's the truth. It's easy to be truthful. He only has one thing to this ordeal. And this is what his statement is. He saw a guy in a suit
He described the suit with a peanut head or whatever. That walked up to the car, stuck his head in the car, and walked away later. And that's what made him think this guy is the shooter. That's it. Other than that, what else do you have? What else can you even bring? What else can you even talk about? Why are you even talking about anything other than that? Right. You convicted of trying to get a man put in prison because of what you suspect from what you saw 10 to 15 minutes prior to the shooting.
Right.
I don't understand, but he has this big following and people calling him the truth. But it's easy to tell the truth for that. But then you identify, you get a six-pack, and you circle 3 of 6 people that you identify. People don't know he identified 3 different people. And it wasn't until the picture ran in the LA Times that in 2002, then he, or 99 or something like that, he started identifying this Amir Muhammad guy. Crazy.
You seem to have this, before I get to that top, Cali, like you went in, man. Salute to you. Like I didn't even know you felt some type of way. Like somebody had told me to ask that, and I've been seeing a lot. So you don't, as far as you guys never were friends or anything like that, right? He just kind of.
No, we were trying to deal. We was communicating with stuff. We had some deals on the table, but Gene, you know, he feels some type of way. I understand why he don't have a book deal or anything yet, because he messes deals up.
Shots
because
fired.
we had a deal for $50,000 to do a documentary, but he wanted it all up front before anything was done.
Nobody gives all up.
And then he wait till I go to prison.
Right.
And then he gonna go and start trying to throw jabs a month after I'm in jail. Once you did that, I lose all respect for you.
Man, hey, shout out to you for speaking on Mr. Dill. I want, before we get to I already have it in the chat. I'm about to click the link and pin it. Who are your top 5 California rappers? I actually, me personally, I want to know that. Top 5 California legends.
DJ Quick.
Right.
E40. Snoop Dogg. Ice Cube. Kendrick Lamar.
And that, in order or not quite?
No specific order.
Okay.
No. If I go in order, I will go with Snoop Dogg first. Snoop Dogg, E40, Kendrick, Quick, and Cube.
Okay, you kind of threw me off because I had a different perspective in who you might like. So it's good to ask you guys these questions. Thank you for that. Hey guys,
who you thought I would have liked?
As you see some in the screen, rest in peace to the Nate Dogs, of course the Q.
Well, he wasn't a rapper. He's a singer on the hook. Yeah. And you know why we like Nate Dogg? Because we can all sing like Nate Dogg. Well, I love Nate Dogg for her, but we can sing along with his stuff.
Right, the harmonizer. Right, no,
we all can sound like that.
Right. He brokered so many rappers at the NBA YoungBoys today, and all these other guys today. So rest in peace, man. Rest up, Nate. And I got the people in the room. One of the first people who jumped in was Miss 702. I'm gonna let her, take over and speak to you. Hold on, I'm putting it next to the mic, cause I didn't really do a 2-way phone thing. I should really take advantage of that, but. Y'all let me know if you can hear each other. Miss 702, you got the floor.
Hi, Reggie. Welcome back.
What up, Mr. Reed? How you doing, baby?
I'm doing good. You know what's so crazy about this show is that when you left us and you went on vacation, your hood vacation, I discovered Ismokehiphop, and I've been here all this time. So it's so crazy to hear y'all doing this interview together.
I was like, where my girl at? Because I saw on a couple of shows I did while I was in prison. Matter of fact, you blessed me there. John told me that you would send me a little blessing, so I appreciate you doing that, girl. And,
I did. I'm so glad that you're home. But I had a couple of things that I wanted to say to you. Oh, my God. So you told me to hook up with Heidi. Do you remember the white girl, Heidi?
Yeah.
Heidi is rich. Me and Heidi been like ghetto twins. We have been together for a whole year, but Heidi is rich. She sit on the top of Vegas overlooking everything. That's crazy. You be rolling with ballers. You be rolling with ballers.
Okay. I didn't know that
I met Sharitha at Walmart. Sharitha clearly lives in my neighborhood. She is the sweetest thing ever and the most beautiful girl that Suge Knight had. Sharitha is beautiful.
Oh, yeah, that's my girl.
And I got to meet Suge the bodyguard. And I wanted to ask you, do you remember Suge the bodyguard?
Suge the bodyguard?
Yeah, he was one of your security guys. He was one of your security guys during Death Row's like height.
His name was Suge?
Yeah, his nickname was Suge. Suge. I don't know his real name, but his nickname was Suge.
And he worked for me? No, he lying.
No, you don't remember him? Okay. Because what I wanted to ask you is, when you meet people from the Death Row era, when you meet people from the Death Row area that worked for you guys, they always try to distance themselves from Death Row Records. Do you feel that way as well? Like sometimes you want to move on and you don't want to be associated to that?
I try to be a voice because I'm always trying to correct things, and that's why a lot of people don't like me and don't care for me. But I just try to put the record straight, you know, even like with the Masterpiece situation when I did a show about that's not how it went down. You know, he tried to make it seem like he came up with the idea to get Snoop off of Death Row. No, that was Suge's idea. I just try to set the record straight because from 94 to 2002, and then later on, 2007, there's nobody other than Suge that knows this stuff better than I do. And I just try to be the corrector. You know, Suge you can't trust because Suge gonna make himself look good no matter what. So me, I can care less what people think, you know. So I say the good and the bad. I done told things that I
gotta apologize for something too, Reggie. Oh my God. I started some shit with you when you was gone, and I am so sorry. So I sent you Halicia's book. You read the book, you went crazy. You went in on my cousin. Like, I never read the book, and after you went off, I had to go read the book and see what she actually wrote about you. I am so sorry. I didn't read that book.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know you're talking about. Off. Yeah. Yeah. You know, she was just, that's everybody. That's how Suge made it seem, though. You know, like I said, she made it seem like Suge was the one wanted her on that song. No, Suge didn't even care. I'm the one who decided to put you on that song because I was trying to blow up the new artist. But hey, it's all good. Right. It's all good.
But you know what? People who actually work for you, one thing that people real life that I've met who actually work for you to set the record straight, they said that you were more than generous, and they said you were the one cutting them checks, and you was cutting big checks at Death Row.
Well, when it ain't your money, you can do that. No, but I try to just make sure people got paid when they were supposed to get paid. And that was the only knock that I have on Suge. When he came home, Suge was angry and he was just taking care of himself. And so it was, I'll take care of all of my stuff. And then whatever's left, people get paid. I was trying, during the time I ran the company from 97 to 2002, was trying to clean up everything and make sure everybody got taken care of right. And that's what happened.
Now, I'm going to ask a controversial question, and I hope BlessOne don't get mad at me.
Nah, you good.
But, because I got to be fair to Fraction, what in the world happened with Gangster Chronicles? Like, it seemed like y'all just fell apart.
Well, I explained it
went
earlier,
one way, Alex went one way, you went another.
My boy, it blew up. The channel blew up quick. I mean, the show blew up quicker than we anticipated. And people wanted to be a part of it. When I'm saying that, I'm talking about the executive producer. You know, James, you can't hate on James. James just wanted to be a part of anything that was positive. James is a changed man. He's just trying to be a part of anything that's positive, and there was something positive that was happening. I just felt disrespected on something that I think I was a part of helping and creating. and I didn't like the direction that the show was going in as far as certain guests that they were bringing on, and they wasn't letting me respond, because while I was in prison, I was still active on the phones, and they knew how to get in contact with me. All they had to do was say, hey, we're going to have so-and-so on the show today. Do you want to respond? Do you want to talk about it? And I would have said, yeah, I'll call y'all at such time. Because I had no problems getting on the phone, and they wasn't doing that.
I get it. I get it. I think we all kept up and seen that. My last question, because you know everyone always comes down on you for the police thing, right? My last question is a police question. And I always wanted to ask you, but you was gone, okay? How did you, and this is a random question, but LA people will gauge your answer. How did you feel about, as an ex-LA, you know, as an ex-officer, how did you feel about the Christopher Dorner situation? Do you remember that case?
Yeah, Christopher Dorner.
So as an ex-African-American officer yourself, how do you feel about that?
No, I hate that happened. People lose it. And he's somebody that got by the psychological examiner, and he was obviously a serial killer. He was obviously crazy.
Mm-hmm. But do you feel that it takes a toll on Black officers?
He terrorized LA for 3 days.
He did. He was killing all the white officers. But do you feel like it takes a toll on Black officers to see police brutality happen?
One of the persons that got killed, the white girl that got killed was dating a Black guy, and he killed her, killed him as well, the boyfriend. He was Black.
But as an ex-Black cop, do you feel it takes a toll on Black officers to see police brutality?
And her boyfriend.
Okay.
And he was a Black guy.
Okay, so you don't think that it was a black and white thing, or that it was about police brutality?
Well, that drove him crazy. Oh, in big departments like that, you got 10,000 officers. Probably 500 to 1,000 are Black. White boys run that department, and they do stuff to you. But does that cause you to go on a rampage to kill people?
Right. And my last question, and I'm out. I'm going to let everybody else take their turn with you. But my last question is, when you were on your vacation, did you find out that 6ix9ine was using your clip of calling Snoop a snitch in his big fight with Snoop?
I hate that I gave him ammunition to go after a West Coast legend. Because and I know why Snoop did that when he did what he said. He was mad. You come slap on me. You slap on me and beat me up and chase me out and make me look bad in front of my new label mates. I'll be mad at you too and say some shit about you, in the heat of the moment. But I hate that I gave him ammunition to go after a West Coast legend, because Snoop in my mind is a West Coast legend.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna let everybody else take their turn. See, I didn't act a fool, BlessOne. I did not act a fool.
Snoop did snitch.
Wow.
Well, you know what? Snitch. Wait a minute, that's the wrong word. Snitch is when it's true. He told a lie. He tried to implicate some people into something because he was mad.
So Snoop is a snitch.
Well, no. Let me correct that. He tried to implicate Suge into something because he was mad.
Right. I mean, everybody in the chat, the interview was over with. This the portion where you guys, look, I seen the chat room going crazy. All of you guys were asking, ask him this, ask him that. Listen, guys, I know you normally, hey, Reggie, they normally call on the phone call mostly. A lot of people don't want their information or whatever, but.
And I did this. Cherie, no, I didn't have many conversations with her. We do this over at Bone Purse, so. Well, I'm
it's the same format. I get on the phone, you know what? Since they don't want to say nothing, I'll say something else too, because I was able to see the comments. I don't know if Reggie's seen the comments, but people were talking about.
I'm standing out here.
When it comes to you and Vlad, I'll be right there in the back.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So people in the comments were saying something about Reggie was not a good leader and a good professional as a security, professional. And this is the thing that I feel that people don't know.
And I had them there.
You never seen Snoop and them around LA when they were on death row. They were not allowed to hang out. You didn't see Snoop around LA until Master P came in the picture. Death row really had them wrapped up in the cut somewhere. You didn't see them.
Exactly. And so, to say that I guess you're ultimately responsible, but I wasn't even at the location. So how can you be so bad when you assign people to do a job and they didn't do their job? This is somebody that has performed in the past. When the trailer got shot up with the dog pound at the New York video shoot when Biggie got on the radio and they had the trailer shot up, Frank did what he was supposed to do. He got them all out of the trailer and made them feel safe. And so to say that I assigned somebody bad too, he did what he's supposed to do then. So how I knew he wasn't going to do what he's supposed to do, when he heard gunshots the second time.
And the white elephant in the room is also people put in the comments, why didn't anyone have a gun in the casino the night with Tupac? The legendary question.
Yeah. There's no elephant in Frank's book. He tells you he changed up when it got convenient. When people were like, "Oh, you can't say that. That ain't gonna sell our DVD." But in his book, the first book he wrote in 97, 98, he said, "My gun was in my car where I was driving in." He said, at the last minute, Tupac asked him to drive Kadada's car with the Outlaws because none of them had any driver license. I didn't want to hold up the entourage, and so I didn't tell Pac that I had to go back to my car to get my gun. I just went on and drove the people, the Outlaws in the car and entourage because I knew we were just on our way to the club and there was going to be plenty of protection at the club. That's what he wrote in his book. But then it comes about the no gun situation because that was for people that was working inside the club. We were having a big inspection that day from the people that work for Vegas, the inspectors. And I told them not to have any guns, the people that was working inside. Plus, if working in a nightclub with 30 people, 30 security guards, and 2,000 or 3,000 people inside there, it's kind of bad having guns in there. I'd rather just have people. Most nightclubs don't have their security don't have guns inside the club because you drop that gun, somebody's going to get hurt. Right. You go to pull that gun out inside of a nightclub, generally the person you're going to shoot at is not going to be the one to get shot. You're going to shoot other people, so innocent bystander. That's why I didn't want any guns inside the nightclub. But I never told bodyguards.
I have one last question to get you riled up. I can't leave without getting you riled up. I swear to God.
Okay.
So this is just a scenario. You know how they say if the boat tipped over and you could only save one person? This is my fun question. If your choices were to save Choke No Joke, Gene Deal, or UK Alex, and we know you love UK Alex, who would you save?
Who would I say? Oh, Gene Deal. I have no problem with Gene. I get mad that Gene got this loyal to me at the end. I just tap at Gene because Gene tapped at me, but I don't have no really dislike for Gene. Gene just telling his story. Choke No Joke, I don't know anything about.
You're amazing, Reggie. You have a good day.
Hey, Miss 702.
So I wouldn't say Choke because I don't know anything about it.
Hello.
Hold on, RJ. Miss 702. If it gets dim again, you're very informative, and I love that you and Reggie established a relationship already. I ain't gonna lie to you. That kind of it was a haymaker in a good way. So thank you. Like I'm either gonna tell you stand in the back. If it get dull and people are getting shot, I don't understand y'all, man. Look, the phone calls is not available because Reggie's on the phone. I didn't set up a two-way. I thought he was gonna be on the StreamYard, so that's my bad.
And they have so many questions in the comments. They need to come ask their questions.
Is there a way to do it where I need to hang up and call back or something? Or
Reggie, you're good, man. it was set up this way. If they're brave enough to, they were going crazy in the comments. Just click on the link. I can't find your location. I don't have to know who you are. We do have RJ in the room, so I'm gonna ask Miss Sheree. Don't go nowhere. If you want to, you can go salute the Skinny Gang. Just make sure if it gets dull, call back in or fall in the back room and just voice your opinion. You know what I mean? Because it's a good chemistry between you two. Not pulling no, things out here. I like the chemistry. So RJ, I'm gonna let you go ahead and ask Reggie a question. You know the deal. Like basically, he has no filter, but be respectful. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. How you doing, Reggie?
How you doing, bro?
How you doing?
How you doing, brother?
Doing well.
Yeah.
As an OG, as somebody that knows a lot more in the streets than I would ever. For me, I want to ask you something I can take home to my family members, because I lost 6 cousins and 8 friends to gang violence over the couple of years. So, do you have any advice I can just tell them that I know they're not going to leave the streets. I know they're not going to leave the gang life, but any advice that's going to just click in their head to move more smarter instead of being more reckless?
Yeah, unfortunately for the people that's still alive and that want to revenge or retaliate and stuff, the only thing that make us grow all of that is family, man. Once you learn and get taken away or lose time with your loved ones and being away from them and or you get somebody that's depending on you, meaning a child or a female friend or a male friend, if that's how you float your boat. That's when, unfortunately, that's the only thing that makes us grow up. That's when I grew up, to be honest, is when I started saying, wait a minute, hold on.
Amen.
I did this or doing that, and I can't be around my kids. I can't see my grandkids. Gang violence, that's why the truth didn't work. After the Rodney King incident or the LA riots out here in California, they tried to have a big old gang truce. And the reason why it didn't work was because Bloods and Crips started saying, oh, that's that dude, Buntry from the mob that my mama cry every night about, that killed my brother Tuki. That's the dude that killed him. And so now people were starting putting a face to it. And that's what broke up the truce with people. Then they start going at it because now they can see that face. And so, unfortunately, that's just how we are when we have people that we lost that we loved. And I was watching on video today how a man lost his daughter, and he was in court and he tried to hold his composure, but he was an old grown man. But he wanted to go and try to choke that man and kill that man because this man took his daughter away from me. And that's just a human reaction. But until we have a loved one or somebody that's else dependent on us, is usually when we go ahead and put that aside. And we got to get prayer in our life, y'all. That's what helped me. It's just by praying and asking God to try to make me a better person. But I know I wasn't, always right or whatever. But now I just try to be a better person, man.
Yeah,
I don't know if I answered your question the way you really wanted it, but
I
that's
understand.
unfortunately how the only way that you can get over it is
a lot of conflict.
Somebody else in your life and not wanting to be away from them. I guess would be my answer.
There's a lot of conflict that's happening around.
RJ, so some of your questions for Reggie. Don't go nowhere too, RJ. Yeah, you're good. Don't go nowhere. We got Pookie Love in the building. Salute to you, Pookie Love. Address Reggie, let him know who you are and where you from, and ask you questions.
How you doing? I'm Pookie Love from Chicago.
Respect Chicago. I know it's cold out there because it's cold out here. How cold is it out there in Chicago right now?
Oh, because the only thing I wanted to know, and I don't know if they asked the question because everybody wanted to know, is Tupac still alive? Because we never say to his body like we say to everybody else's body.
You said it's Tupac what?
Still alive. You know how you see everybody body that's died, they funeral on TV, they body in the casket. Okay. You didn't see his.
I got you. I can tell you, I'm the one that picked Tupac ashes up from the Well, I picked up some ashes from the crematory, and I was told that it was Tupac inside there. What type of person would you think Tupac would be? Could you be a fan of Tupac if he was hiding from? He only had 2 years left to do of his prison sentence. That would be the only reason that a man would run. And would you still respect him as a man, as a person by this time? If he was hiding in Cuba or hiding anywhere because he didn't want to do 2 more years in prison?
No.
That would be the only reason for him to fake his death, right? Because it wasn't like he was fighting a life sentence or murder case. He had a 4-year sentence. He did a year of that. Why would you let all these people? I mean, he would have had me by now, or somebody go and pay Ayana off to go ahead and tell the truth of what really happened to get this case overturned. What you would go and pay her for him to get in, if you're a fan, to get her to overturn her statement and to tell the truth of what happened, to get him exonerated.
And I got one more thing I want to ask, because I am really tired of it. Why rap games, like the rap game, why is people always being killed? Why it just can't be a rap battle, you just say something and just leave it alone? Why people got to get killed over it?
I agree with you, but that's because of the entourage and the people and the culture, and that's what they know. If you look at where everybody claimed to be from and how hood and stuff, that's all they know. But the perfect thing would be if I had a bunch of money, if I was in a position like Jay-Z position, you know what I would do? Or I would do something like a round of rapping, 2 rounds of boxing and scrapping. Because, in high school, and one of my best friends, not best friends, but a guy I was a good friend with, you know how I became good friends with him? We had a fight in junior high school. And generally, once you fight it out and get that off your chest, generally we become friends after that. We give a sign of respect for each other. You see how Mike Tyson, which he never really had no hatred for Roy, but you see what he kept saying to Roy after the fight? He said, "I respect you, man. I respect how you took these punches and you kept coming and you didn't quit. I respect the hell out of you now, Roy." That's what Mike was saying after the fight.
Yeah.
And so if we can get something like that going and maybe all the guys with these beefs, we can get them to maybe do a little rapping and have a rap off and then have like the verses, and then they get in a boxing ring and fight it out. I think that would stop a lot of things. But that's rappers on rappers. It's
because everybody can't fight nowadays. It's like everybody can't fight nowadays. They scared to take an ass whooping.
Yeah. You're right. That's what Friday was all about. Most people miss the whole understanding of the movie Friday, the first one. It was all about live the fight and live to go another day. Live another day.
Yeah,
that was the whole gist of that movie.
Friend. Yeah, that's how it was, but it ain't like that no more.
Because of entourages and the people that's around you, the people that's really trying to get that extra money or whatever, to get that extra street cred, that don't have much to lose like you do.
Hey, Pookie Love, don't go nowhere. You asking good questions. Now, if we get too much people on the StreamYard, I'll tell you, stand in the back room. But you could leave your thing for mute and ask other questions. Don't go nowhere. We got God Vega in the building. I'm going to let God Vega take over God. And one more thing, Reggie. Well, Pookie Love, mute your thing for a little bit. You got a feedback, just to let you know. Reggie, I just want to say on behalf of Smoke Gang, brother, thank you, man, because you didn't really have to stay. You did 2 hours of a gold interview, so all this extra time, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the first time I haven't really smoked on an interview, and I'm just trying to, So I'm gonna let God Vega to take over. I just want to say on behalf of Smoke Gang to say, man, I appreciate this, man. Thank you very much.
No, much respect, man. I love your energy. I love your vibe. And
to the real, Reggie, you kept it 100.
I love everything about the way you talk, man.
Thank you, Reggie.
Thank you, Poop. Thank you, Reggie.
Go ahead,
yes,
God
sir.
Vega.
How you doing?
Go ahead, God Vega.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Reggie, you kept it 100. You've been 100. Keep it solid. And BlessOne.
I appreciate you.
Keep the channel going, brother.
Thank you, bro. But don't go nowhere, God Vega. I like your energy, man. You got Reggie over here, man. I don't mean to. Reggie ain't gonna tell you he's somebody, but bro, I'm 36. This man being in this interview today is a golden moment, bro. Take over, bro. Like, ask him the question. You know, I did this for the people. Ask him any questions you want, as long as you, no matter what it is, as long as you're respectful. Go ahead, brother.
Nah, I'm just saluting. I mean, I've been watching since a youngin'. You know what I'm saying? The East Coast, West Coast, all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm from New York.
Oh, salute to
so, I mean, I'm 32, so I was a youngin' watching all of that. And Reggie held his ground.
God Vega, you from New York.
Being an expert, though.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop all of y'all.
You know what I'm saying?
You better ask him some questions now, bro. You from New York, my nigga. You from New York, bro. Ask this, bro. You say you from New York. You better ask this man some real questions, bro, because you from New York, my nigga.
What you think about the East Coast, West Coast, though, as far as the ones who was being real and standing on their own, like how people try to say that Tupac was basically, he went from doing the Humpty Dumpty and all of that stuff with them boys on the East Coast to going on West Coast, getting out of jail when like riding that coattail. How you feel about that?
Well, it's always debatable where Tupac is actually from. Baltimore say he's from Baltimore. You know, New Yorkers say he's from New York. That's where he was born. You know, you talk to people in Oakland or Marin County, they swear that he's from Oakland. It's hard to say on that. But
at the end of the day, it ain't where you from, it's where you at.
Is where you at, huh? You know, I won't give him California. I'm not one going to try to say he was from California. I mean, from LA area, because he was only there for 11 months. But you asked the second part that I wanted to answer. What was the second part that you said? And I forgot, to be honest, but it was the second part I wanted to touch on your question.
As far as how people try to portray Tupac as being like fake for the media, like he went from being like Black Power, Black Panther, and doing that situation with Humpty Dumpty and them in New York to go on the West Coast, and that was like fuck the East Coast. He riding for the West, and he was just gangster. Was Pac genuinely the way he was?
Yeah, he was loyal to what you got to remember, the Black Panther training and how they think. They believe in taking over where they at. And his mother taught me that, where she said, we go in where we at and we try to take over that whole area. So I want to call him more of loyal to who he's with.
But I moved to Florida, and I try to make Florida mine.
Yeah. And so I think he's just one of those that's loyal where the turf or who he was with, because that's what I want to say about Pac. He was just he was mainly a Black Panther child, and just mainly into loyalty.
Right.
Thank you very
Well, that's all I got for you, brother, man. It's all love, man. Peace and love to everybody.
Thank you, God.
Respect, bro.
Bless you. Respect. We still got Miss 702, Sheree Baby in the building. We got RJ. We got Pookie Love. I want everybody to hit that link, but I want Miss Sheree to go more because I don't know, your voice, it reminds me of the coolest teacher I ever had. You very informative, mama. So, and you my generation. So take over. I'm finally.
I can't believe I got two of my favorite guys on YouTube at one time. That's crazy. That's super crazy.
For me, man.
But Reggie, I wanted to ask you about your kiss and makeup list, okay? And I don't know if guys call it kiss and makeup, but your makeup list. Have you made up with Danny Boy? Because I feel like Danny Boy looked at you like an uncle, and he just always just wanted your approval.
Yeah, Danny Boy heard me with that Vlad interview, right? When he said that me and Michelle messed up that pro, fucked up that pro. Right. And so that hurted me because I knew all the things I did for Danny Boy, trying to look out for Danny Boy and stuff like that. Danny Boy forget that Suge cut him off because Suge asked him to go sing at his uncle's funeral, and Danny Boy was so mad at that time, and he told him he wanted $10,000. And I was like, Danny, this man's still taking care of you. You want $10,000 to go sing at his uncle's funeral? You better not do that, because his uncle loved the song "Change Gonna Come," and Danny was big on singing that song. And I was like, all right, Danny. So when Danny did that, Shit was like, send that nigga home. And I had him come and perform at a Christmas party that a friend of mine gave just to get him money to have in his pocket to go home. And so I was always looking out for Danny. And for him to do that, where he was like, I was feeling like I was getting attacked by everything. And so that's why I put out about him being gay and all of that. And that was me. That's still me. And I got to grow out of that, of always attacking and responding. You know, I'm 57 years old and I still got that in me. And I got to get that out of me. That's probably because I'm fat. You know, fat boys do that a little bit. Always ready to defend themselves. And I'm trying to learn to be a better person and not always respond to people and put out their insecurities or their negativity things just because they said something. Because I know once I talk to everybody, it ain't been a person yet that I haven't reached out. But why you do that? Why you say that? Oh, Reg, I just did that because, I was mad. And, we can't go after Suge, so you was the easy target. And so that's why I did that. But me and Danny are back cool. He did 2 interviews on Bomb First since I attacked him. So, or went out and put out his sexual orientation. I've been attacking him a little bit lately because he's trying to say that he had a relationship with Mary J. Blige, and I don't believe that. And so if you heard me say anything about that, that's been the only thing lately that I spoke on him and said I believe he's lying about. But other than that, me and Danny.
Now the biggest makeup that people are waiting on
got a restaurant open
is
right now.
You and Suge Knight. Are you and Suge going to make up? Y'all literally been friends since the Sandbox.
I mean, me and Suge, I talk to his people down there once or twice a week. We both stubborn right now, and he's like, "Oh no, tell Red I ain't clearing that shit up. He shouldn't have said that stuff. Tell him to clear up that stuff about what he said about me with Tata. When he cleared that up, I'll clear up what I said." So we tapping, but I can really care less because I already knew about this. This is new to the YouTube community. This is something he and I had already argued about 5 or 6 years ago. This is old stuff. This is. I did an interview about this, calling him a rat when I found out that Russell Poole died and all of that. When I came on first to put that out, all of that's been out there. So he's like, "Why am I still tripping over something that's old?" And so we'll get it cleared up. But put it this way.
Now, my question is this:
I'll be going up there visiting. I'll be going up there visiting once I get off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For the hardcore Death Row fans, we be knowing who really is who, right? So you really helped run Death Row. Like, Suge really trusted you. And then Sharitha was like a manager to Snoop and Daz and Corrupt and all of them, right? Do you think that if you and Sharitha were to go to Suge and try to work with Suge, do you think you guys will be way more successful than, say, Ray J and Nick Cannon? Because he's playing with them. But do you think he would be 100 with y'all?
Well, the problem is, people going to open up the doors for, even Irv Gotti got some permission to go and try to make something happen right now. But people going to open up the door for Irv Gotti's or Nick Cannon's and all of that over Reggie Wright. And he definitely not going to deal with his ex-wife when he got another, fiance right now, which is Toy. If we would have been smart enough to do this back in 95, 96, it would have been interesting to see how things would have worked out with Sharitha, because Sharitha's a smart lady and all of that. But us men and us young black men, once we know our women are opening their legs for somebody else, it's kind of hard for us to kind of trust again.
Facts, super facts.
I'm just keeping it 100.
Super facts.
Especially
so you don't ever think that they're gonna be the umpire, Cookie, and oh boy, you don't think they'll ever be able to put the business back together?
If they got back together somehow, You know, if Suge got out of prison in the next couple of years, he wouldn't get death row back. But I still believe he'll open up enough doors and got enough relationships where he can go and get some. The Death Row movie hasn't been told yet. The Death Row book hasn't been told yet. And I think he can make $10 to $20 million that could take care of his family or take care of himself for the rest of his life just by doing one of those two projects. So, and
then I have a personal question to ask you too, which leans on Nipsey.
He don't owe the IRS no money anymore. He don't owe anybody no money because that bankruptcy cleared up everything. So he got a clean credit right now.
So I have a question to ask you that's a personal question and it kind of leans on Nipsey, right? A lot of people don't make the connection that many of the people that you see kind of came through that death row training ground some kind of way. They rubbed hands with y'all and then they went on to be great, right? So I know that SKG was signed to Big U. Did Nipsey did he get to Big U through her? Like, is that how that became Nipsey's manager? Like, he was her manager first?
SKG was just somebody that Keefe had found for us, so I didn't know that she was ever signed to Big U. She never explored that to us. I told us that she might have been loyal to Big U, but I didn't read the book. I just read the section about Reggie, and so to say that I know that she was signed to Big U or when she was signed to Big U, I don't know when that was done. So I can't comment on that.
Because I was wondering if Big U ever brought him to death row, considering that was also Big U's artist at some point.
Big U was in prison. Big U was in prison until about 2005, 2006.
Okay.
He was in prison from 92 until about 2005, 2006. I think he did 14 years to about 2005. So, yeah.
Okay, so Whack 100 is more the death row guy, not Big U, but Whack 100.
Right, you letting her talk.
What? Like Whack 100 was my guy. I the one that brought Whack 100 to the game.
He told me, hold on. He told me, hold on.
Just got killed. A guy just got killed by the name of Pooh Ryder. They were real tight, and Suge and Pooh Ryder were in prison together. And he sent him home to me in about 99, 98. To look out, to take care of, to be a homie. And they were from Pacoima, which was out there in the valley area of LA. And that's how I met Whack 100. And I kind of took Whack 100 under my wings in about 2000, 2001, because he was someone that wanted to learn. He didn't want to be a slapper or we call him stunt dummy, somebody that just go and beat up on somebody or something like that. He wants to be more of a, somebody to learn, which he did learn and took the game and ran with it and doing real well for himself.
Okay, somebody got a background going on. Hold on, whoever got that muted up right quick. But you cool. Hey, Lomo the Great. Salute to you. Reggie, we got a new person in the room. This is Lomo the Great, also a Floridian.
Salute.
Go ahead, Lomo.
Yeah, Reggie, I just wanted to ask you, man, that night that Pac died, man, where was you at? And and why was why did y'all have that stipulation of having no guns at the time?
Okay. Number one, the no gun situation was just at the club, inside the club. It was not for the bodyguard. It was not for Pac and Suge had 2 guns in their car. Buntree and Nick Bone had guns in their car. They fired shots after the car after it took off. Like I explained earlier, why Frank said he didn't have his gun in his car, and you can go back and listen to the stream why I explained that. But that's what the misconception was about the no gun situation. It was just for the people that were working the club. There were 20 guys in the entourage that was behind Suge and Pac. I'm not a security or a bodyguard. I own a security company, but I was also doing other things for Death Row. And at the time, I was in charge of making sure Club 662 got off the ground too, because that was an entity of Suge Knight as well. I'm not saying it was bigger than Pac or bigger than Suge, but it was an entity that I was in charge of making sure it was running smoothly. And I was at the club, taking care of making sure everything at the club was working in order. I elected not to go to the fight. Like I said, it was 20 guys, 20 homies that was behind them. If I was there, nothing. I don't think I would have done anything. Would probably been a better witness. I hope I would have been able to be a better witness than the ones that were there. And I would have been expected to testify and be the one that had Orlando and all of them put in prison. And, you know, because Suge couldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. And, you know, the homies definitely weren't going to do that. And so that was my job and my security job to do things like that. And Frank let me down on that. I mean, everybody say I'm trying to pass the buck or whatever, but that's what my security was there for, to be a good witness, not so much a armed assassin.
All right, respect. So, I mean, till the day, do you kind of have like, you still think about that situation and, you know?
Oh, you always been back quarterback yourself. I wish. Oh, shit. I mean, I wish I could have told those niggas not to go. Or I wish Pac wouldn't have went out to Vegas. You know, like people try to say he didn't want to go, which is not true, because most people don't know he was going to work off some probation. He was getting some credit for some community service time out there that he had owed, so he wouldn't be picking up trash along the freeways, which I had to go testify to get him out of doing. So, you know, so he was going no matter what. And plus, he loved to fight. He loved Mike Tyson. He loved that atmosphere. So he wanted to be there. But of course, Monday back quarterbacking. I wish I would have been there, because I would have stayed and talked to Orlando after that incident. I wouldn't have been able to stop that incident from happening, but I would have talked to Orlando after that happened and be like, Orlando, all right, nigga, I'm here. Yeah, y'all, you know, we'll work this shit out, you know, later. But you know, nigga, I don't need no mess tonight. And I had that type of rapport with people on the streets at that time because not because of Reggie Wright, just because of the position I had in the city of Compton.
Okay.
Yeah.
And about this podcast that you got coming up, you say it's about rats?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to expose people that's walking around here. That's everybody got a neighborhood of a big gangster and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of people in jail that got paperwork on dudes that you would never believe on, that got on the stand and testified on them. And it's going to be, that's just a part of it. The main reason I want to do it is to get people to shut up. Most of the people that goes to jail and go to prison now is because they think they can talk their way out of a situation when law enforcement get them in the tank and start talking to them. I just want people to learn their rights, know what they be able to do, and to shut the fuck up until you get some legal representation and somebody to help you through the situation. And because there's a lot of young 18, 19-year-old kids that, you know, they out there and they think they're the toughest things around and all of that, but you know why they go to prison? For a long, long time. For running their mouth. Look at 48. I tell people all the time, go watch First 48, and you'll see how people put themselves in jail that would never have been in prison for the rest of their lives if they would have just shut up.
I hear you, but you don't think a show like that is going to cause families and, you know, old wounds to open up, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't think that's kind of like going to have a crazy effect towards other people? Like, I understand, yeah, you want to let the truth out and everything.
Rats need to be exposed, bro. Expose them rats, bro.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You know, I'm sorry, bro. I hear you. I understand. I understand, and I used to be on that side, and so I understand what you're saying, but I don't tell you, man, cops don't respect rats.
So you're an ex-cop yourself, right?
I'm sorry?
You're an ex-cop yourself, or you were just security?
Yes, I'm an ex-cop.
Okay, then.
But I'm an ex-cop. I hadn't been a cop since 1995, so I didn't see both sides of it now. And I just want people to have a fighting chance in courts and not to just be telling on themselves. And
Right.
you know, I you know, sitting in prison and seeing people that's in there because people want to expose them, I just have a problem with now. I don't know. I don't know why. I have a problem with people that
right?
I have a problem with it.
You're an ex-cop,
Maybe
right?
I need
So
to
you
pray
used
on
to
it
be a
more.
rat yourself, and now you exposing rats. That's what I'm just saying. Like, it's just,
Yeah. Well,
just
yeah. I was a cop 25 years
He's
ago.
seen both sides of the fence, so he the right person to do it.
Yeah, I can tell you from both sides. But I understand what you're saying. Trust me, I get what you're saying. You're like, okay, people needs to be in jail and stuff like that. But do you have to tell on yourselves and be exposing yourself, and mainly telling on other people and exposing them? I just have a problem with it now. But I hear you. I understand it's something I debate myself
Hey, Red, you're doing the right
about all the
thing.
time.
I mean,
but that's just how I feel right now.
Go ahead, God.
you got the right to feel like that. You know what I mean? The question homeboy is asking about him being an ex-cop, that don't matter. You know what I'm saying? You got good cops, you got bad cops, and him being a cop, they get the blunt and the brunt of the bullshit from the people, even when they being good cops. So him exposing the rats that's walking among us, let him do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to argue it or anything, and I respect your opinion, and I hear you.
Now this guy Vega, I'm talking on behalf of you, my brother. I'm telling you, respect to what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lumo
I'm just saying that for other people because I know other people, have opinions on it, and I fight with it. I'll be honest, it's something that I fight with, but
listen, I
see people. I just want people to learn that they have rights, and a lot of the young kids don't know. You just watch 48, man. Just watch first 48, and you'll see what I'm saying. Just give it about 4 or 5 shows of that, and you'll see what I'm saying, man.
They fold. They need to go to class and open up some books and learn how to fight their case instead of thinking they can run wild.
If you don't have places, if you don't have people that you respect, if you don't have people that has a platform to tell you or preaching it and putting it down your throat, then they don't listen. They don't know. They're not listening to a white man. It's a perfect YouTube channel out there called Audit or something like that. I mean, they show all the police where police be doing illegal detentions and doing stuff, and then they break down the court cases and all of that. I bet nobody on this channel ever heard of that channel. But my point is,
I never heard it.
We don't listen to it or we don't respect it, and we don't hear it because we don't know it because it's not our people telling it. And all of our people are scared to talk about it and tell it. And that's why I think, Johnny Cochran would be the best person to do it. Ben Crump, if he had the time to do it, he would be the perfect person to do it currently. But that don't generate the money. And so they're not going to do it. But we need people like that that's willing to put themselves out there just to tell people their rights.
I was gonna there was a new person who came in the room. Y'all, these were good questions. We got about 6 more minutes, so I'm gonna go with Pookie Love. I don't know if she's still in the room or not. Oh, go ahead, RJ. Was that RJ or God Vega?
This guy Vega. Hey Reggie, what you got? What advice you got for up and coming artists that's got 1 foot in the streets and 1 foot in the rap game?
You said I got 1 foot in the. You said one more time.
1 foot in the streets and 1 foot in the rap game, and they trying to work their way through it and stuff. You got your homeboys in your ear talking about something. You don't need bodyguards. You got us, but they robbing you. You got all the drama that come with it.
Yeah, and that's why I try to say on Vlad. I don't know if they watch the thing. When I told Vlad, I said, listen, because I done been all around the different things. I done ran a record company. I done been a police officer. I done I done hung out with Bloods. I done hung out. I got indicted with Crips. I done been to prison. How many people they really can say that they done did all 5 of those different things? I'm connected with politicians.
Right.
I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm just trying to say, with all this knowledge and all this experience I have and stuff, the past, I'm all about saving the young kids now because man, the government is. Do y'all know? I want to tell y'all something that me and this guy named Melvin Farmer are about to talk about. We're about to do a big show about. This is how serious this is getting right now. They're about to stop prosecuting people with gun cases at the state level. They're about to start giving people 7 to 10 years for carrying a firearm, and they're going to fill up the jail, the federal system with the cases for carrying a gun now. In the state of California, the first time you get caught with a gun is a misdemeanor. Now it's about to be 7 to 10 years in a federal penitentiary for carrying a gun. This is the new law that that's been enforced now. They're not even going to take you to state court now. They're going to take you to the federal court now, which we all know gives you more time. And people need to know these things. If you use a gun, God forbid you use a gun, you're about to get 15 to 20 years now in the federal system.
And them laws is more harsher. They're making them laws harsher because they know that the black youth is more prone to their environment to have to use a gun and carry a gun. So all them laws being made to hurt us. So we ain't got nobody that's speaking up to tell us. Guess what race of
people that carry guns more than anybody? Blacks and Mexicans.
Well, this is exactly what happened. I knew this was going to happen. A lot of people wanted this to happen. They just didn't know. They didn't know the truth, even if you put the truth in front of them.
Wait, I want to know this though. I want to know this though. You say that you're against.
And man, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, to be an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid in that federal system, it's a scary situation, man.
I knew they were going to do this. Exactly.
I also want to know this though from you. How you say that you're against rats and everything, right? But I also want to know, like, how does that work when you also telling people business on this and you trying to put a show out to expose rats? Like, can you just explain like more in depth, like?
Well, on the show, we were just been gossiping and talking about things that's been out there. But the show, I just want to try to go about educating people and trying to saving some young kid from maybe telling on himself to get himself 25 years of life when maybe an attorney can come in and make a better deal for him. And so it's mainly an educational thing because I know our kids and our people don't listen to white folks, for lack of a better word. They just don't go and listen to those type of platforms. And so
I understand educational purposes, but I also at the same time,
there's formats out there like that. I mean, I'll tell you, it's a company called Audit. They break it down great, but
that's true. But at the same time, I think the demographic and the people you're trying to reach aren't necessarily looking for someone like you to give them that.
He's the exact person we need.
I'm not saying me. I'm keeping it all the way.
I'm keeping it all the way 100. I'm from LA.
I got some person that I said I want to bring on as the head of the group. One of the organizers, Melvin Farmer.
But listen to me.
Hey, King.
Listen to me though.
Hold on, King. You could explain. Hey, King. Hey, brother. I'll let you explain, but be cordial, brother. I feel you. And
I'm
salute.
being cordial. I'm being cordial.
No, you are.
Like I said.
What I'm
Reggie
saying,
is the one that we need to
hold on, y'all. When you are King, you're being cordial.
Like I said, y'all jumping on me.
No, nobody is King. It's the way I speak. King, hold on.
Let me explain. Look, sit back and let me
explain. Yeah, I'm not offended. I'm not offended by how he's coming at me.
I'm
maybe I missed
something.
Hey, bro, you're not gonna tell nobody to sit back, bro. We all alpha males.
Right.
Salute to the men in the building, bro. How you gonna tell somebody to sit back when I'm giving you that respect, brother? And you could be cordial at the same time, falling off from being cordial, and that's what was going on. on. It's just more of Reggie was speaking and you were speaking over him. I don't mind what you saying because Reggie don't. So salute to you, brother. I'ma unmute it, but don't tell somebody to fall back. We grown men, bro. Everything's about respect factor. Look at your energy, homie. I'm just being respectful, homie. I don't know what your energy is, but you kind of animated to a certain extent. If I'm being disrespectful, I apologize. Hold on, let King go, y'all. If I feel like I'm being disrespectful, I apologize. I'm not, brother. It's just more, let's not talk over each other. That's all I'm doing. I don't mind what you're saying. I didn't hear Reggie get offended, so obviously you cool. Now go ahead, bro. The floor is yours. I hope you ain't offended. It's just to clarify things. Go ahead.
Not at all. Not at all.
Thank you, Reggie.
But all I was trying to say was the people. I'm just going to have the platform and open up. I'm not going to be the only one on it. And the person that I named that I was going to bring on the first show talking about that is originator of the Crips, Melvin Formar, who's going to be talking on that. And they listen to people like that. If you look at any of the YouTube shows he did on Vlad and on Gangster Chronicles and on Street TV Games, he got over 400,000 or 500,000 hits of people watching this show. And so we can just save one or two people off of that. It's worth it to me. I also said bringing on, I wish it was attorneys like Johnny Cochran or Ben Crump that can come on and speak on it. So I'm just saying I can get to people like that to try to bring them on the show to talk about it. But I didn't say I was going to be the one that's out speaking on it. But there is some people that do have a little respect for me. Maybe you don't, but there are some people that don't mind hearing my voice. And for those one or two that don't, and that who lives I might say, then that's all it's about with me, brother.
Go ahead, King.
That's why I was saying the demographic that you were trying to reach when you say the young 20-year-olds. I don't think that they're looking to 50 and older. You feel me? That's why I said let me explain that, because I'm being honest.
I got you.
A lot of the people that are in the 20 years old, the people that have done them the worst, especially in the hood, and you know this coming from LA, are those that are 50, 60, 70, 30, 40, so they don't trust anybody in that age range. So I don't think people in that age range are even listening, to be honest, that are in the streets. They don't want to hear that. You know that. You know how LA is. They don't want to hear none of that. That's why I'm saying that. And I don't know, disrespectful, like, oh, no, you got no respect, because of course you got respect. You roll with the big dogs. That's, you feel me? Can't nobody say that. You feel me? Can't nobody disrespect you on that. But as far as the young group of gangsters out there, they not listening to them. You know that.
But speaking on the demographics, I do a YouTube show called Bomb First. And I think the demographic area is between the ages of 25 to 37. And in each video that we do put out, we get at least 10,000 hits, if not more, on some, depending on the subject. And so there's some younger kids that are listening to what I have to say.
When I say younger, I'm sorry about that. When I say younger, I mean under 25, like the 21,
18,
like the young ones that's really out there. The ones that's really out there.
You're right. They're really active. I got you. But how do we get to them? You tell me, how do we get to them?
Good question.
And honestly, the best way to go, you got to go section. You feel me? You have to show you out there.
Yeah. Well, at least they can't, like I said, you ain't gonna be able to save everybody. But if you save a couple, it's worth it to me. If you hear one person that say, man, that saved me from going to prison for the rest of my life. And I only got 5 years or 10 years because I shut up and my attorney got a good deal for me. It's worth it. But these kids are doing stuff to get themselves 25 to 30 years of lifestyle. And they are kids, 18, 19 years old. They don't know. And they don't know how to wipe their ass yet.
King,
don't even care.
Can I ask you a question about Reggie King? I like your energy, though, if you want me to be honest with you. I was in the military, so I like traits where, like, basically you wasn't afraid to give your difference of opinion, so I actually do respect you. But more, let me ask you a question, though. Being Reggie's background and who he is, and like I know T.I. got his little man museum he's doing of hip hop or whatever. Don't you think like Reggie voice alone, whether people agree with his role in hip hop or this or not, but he is a voice in part of hip hop historian, wouldn't you say?
Of course, because like I said, you can't deny he rose the victim. You
And
can't
some of
deny
the
that.
people that I done interviewed, man, I done interviewed people all over. I done interviewed cops. I done interviewed damn near everybody that's on death row, except Snoop or Dash and stuff. But the people that I done been around, you know, I bring Spider Loc on my show anytime. The Whack 100, the people that do have people that follow them, I can get to them and bring them on and talk. I mean, there's done been a lot of people that done came on the show over there. And I, you know, I'm one of those that's not limited because for some reason, I'm able to deal with Bloods. I'm able to deal with Crips. I can deal with Mexican gang members and stuff like that. And there's people that don't like me. I know that. I'm not that naive, but there's people that do listen, even if they disagree with me.
Hey, I got a good suggestion.
It's just a thought, but maybe it won't work.
Like you said,
the analytics will tell, right? And if it don't work, if it don't make sense, then it'll get shut down. But how long can I keep talking about death row stuff, right? Who shot who? Who shot Tupac? Who killed Tupac? Because after Thursday, after this show on with this dossier people, there's gonna be a lot of people whose eyes gonna get open. I really believe. So I hope y'all tune into that so y'all can hear this supposedly FBI agent that, you know, been having all this evidence and stuff since 2003, 2004. But now, after he's retired, he want to come out with it. And it's like it's new evidence to everybody.
I'll hit you after the show, and you'll give me the links and information. And during all my lives I'm going to be doing this week and uploads, I'll attach them in the beginning and in the middle and the end. I do commercials in a lot of my uploads, so I'll add them as well so people can get very in tune with it, because I didn't even know you had something besides, you know, the Gangster Chronicles or whatever. So yeah, listen.
Bomb First that's Bomb First is where I do most of my interviews. If you go to Bomb First channel, you'll see all the people that have been interviewed. Cherie, you still there?
Oh, she's in the chat. She
gone 702. She gone.
Yeah,
well,
she can hear you.
Y'all go. She could tell you all the people that have been on that show, and you know, we interact. I talk to people.
Hold on, you got one more person, Reggie. Because I know you gotta leave. You got hold on, y'all. You got Death of a Clout Chish in the building. He's a content creator as well, and he speaks to individuals like yourself, and you know, basically affiliated or whatever, but been through what you've been through. So, and I seen him in the room already. He's a cordial brother. Dev, sometimes, bro, you could just cut people on. Everybody do that. Nobody's gonna be feel like it's disrespected. But I'm gonna let him go and ask you a question, and then I think that was King who was next, and Pookie Love wanted to ask you one more question because I have paused there because of the background noise. Go ahead, Dev.
No, I just had a question, like, far as like you know, him being from the West Coast, and you know what I mean, like, when it comes to like Crips and Bloods, and when these different things like King Von's situation, neighborhood 60s with, you know what I'm saying, they from Georgia, like when these type of things happen in different cities, like, are y'all OGs in tune with what's going on, or y'all just look the other way?
Break that down for me a little bit. I didn't quite hear him. Break that down for me, BlessOne.
Okay. Hey, say that again, Dev Chaser. So maybe he can catch.
I'm sorry.
If he don't, I could translate it. No, you good.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, when it comes to like even with the King Von situation, you know what I'm saying, you got the neighborhood 60s, but they from Georgia, and you know, Cali, the birthplace, Crips and Bloods. Like, when y'all the big homies, are y'all in tune with what's going on in these different cities, even when it comes down to even like rapper politics, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah, well, you know, that's the drug gang that did that. That's because of them coming out there from California or whatever, bringing the drugs in their neighborhood, and usually somebody that moved out there, that went out there and formed a gang in that neighborhood. But it's kind of backwards out there, because some of the gangs that don't mess with each other out here, they'll be cool with each other out there, you know, because it's mainly about territory and stuff like that out there. But I use the term Bloods and Crips because that's what we deal with out here. But gangsters is gangsters, and every, no slight to the GDPs and the people in Chicago and, the different boroughs or whatever in New York. They all still got the same mentality. It's a clique about 30 or 40 dudes that will ride or die for each other. And the main thing I'm just trying to do is to give them a fighting chance to learn how to deal with law enforcement. I'm one that believes in complying. I think a lot of the incidents that wouldn't happen if people would comply. So I will preach compliance, but I will also tell you how you can file a complaint and file a complaint against law enforcement after you comply. Because truthfully, nothing's going to happen the first or second time. But when I also get 3 or 4 complaints on them, trust me, they're going to start getting dealt with. And just like this cop that did that stuff with George Floyd, where he had 18 different complaints against him, that's what's going to get that man life in prison.
So you feel no, dope, man. I appreciate that, OG. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Nah, I appreciate you death of a cloud chaser. I think King was next again. I like his dialogue with you, OG. In fact, OG, thank you very much. I'm gonna stay for like 10 more minutes because now the questions are coming in. I know you bearing in there. This kind of like the longest interview I had, but it's very informative. So it's on you to say when, but I'll at least see 10 minutes more is good enough.
Well, man, the show. I told you I got you as long as you wanted me. Well.
Hey, that's 100, man. King, go ahead, bro.
So really, what I was gonna say is really like to answer your question earlier. And I was gonna say, of course, like you gotta respect somebody that done been around everything. You feel me? And being from LA, you feel me? Like you learn early that when somebody that been through shit and seen shit in life, like speak, sit back, shut the fuck up, and listen. Quick, like they gonna give you some game. They gonna give you some game.
And you gotta learn, and you gotta give respect. You have to. It takes a time to get people to respect you and to listen to you, and that's why I just try to be an open book and just put it out there. A lot of people are not going to like you just by your name or what you've been involved in, but that's why I try to be transparent and just speak and ask people just to sit back and listen, not just listen to other people. Do your research yourself. Sit back, listen, and then hear it out, and then weigh it from there. Does something make sense? That don't make sense. Just like the incident where Choke No Joke asked about the immunity thing. It's like you throwing something out there that don't even make sense. Vegas can't, LAPD cop can't give an immunity deal on an incident that happened in Vegas. So why you keep throwing that out? But people, that's the big thing. Immunity. Vegas, LAPD cop can't give nobody immunity on something that happened in Vegas. And then you go sit back and be like, oh, that do make sense. That's why you got to hear people out, do research on yourself. And that's all I'm about, bro.
Hey, brother.
Anybody else want to ask the OG a question? The floors are open, and you know what? Pookie Love, since she is the only female here right now, and then I'm gonna go to God Vega. Pookie Love, anything, and I only muted you, Queen, cause your background. You know what I mean? You had a feedback like kind of crazy a little bit, but go ahead. The floor is yours to speak to, Reggie right quick. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I thank y'all. And Reggie, you say you in Chicago, right?
You say I'm from Compton?
Okay. And since Father's Day, you see how babies just getting killed and all that. Why is it got to be like that? Because back in the day, they used to tell us to go in the house before the shooting come. You see how different it is in Chicago or everywhere. Why? When is they gonna stop the killing?
Yeah. Unfortunately, nobody knows. And I understand why it continues to happen. It's just because the generations that before them, where they see mama got T-shirts on her, mama crying and all of that, and that's all they've been hearing about. that guy doggone Derek is the one that killed my son, every Christmas or every birthday and all of that. And mama keep putting that in their head because that's mama baby, and so it carries on, and that's all that person. So you grow up hating, Derek from Spooktown Crips or whatever, because that's all you heard mama telling. So until we can get that to stop, where everybody can just say, okay, we forgive everything, we forgive everybody, and that's why you see a lot of mothers preaching, I forgive, to help stop the generation, the hate, that hatred towards that person that killed that person. But until we get smart enough to do that, unfortunately, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop.
Oh, let me unmute her because her feedback. Did you copy what he said, Queen? Pookie Love, can you hear us? Did we lose you, Pookie?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, your name got me rolling and laughing. By the way, Queen, it put me in a good spirit for some reason. You got
Oh, I
anything?
got a lot of stuff we could talk about. Cause see, I just sit and pay attention to everything. I look at World Star, YouTube, Facebook. I look at everything. Cause me and you can talk about FBD Duck. Me and you love that man. FBD Duck. Yeah, we love him.
I don't know if she's. Yeah, God Vega in the building. Salute to you for the patience, man. I don't know what Pookie Love almost made me laugh because I don't know if she's trolling or not. When she
said that you and her love FBG Duck.
I know I was laughing, bro, because she mispronounced it, but we're gonna roll with the punch. Shout out to God Vega. Your patience is immaculate, my brother. Go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
For sure. Hey, Reg, what you got to say for the young ones who jumping off the porch for the clout, but they don't do no research or no history of their enemy or none of that stuff? They think we the enemies, and they don't even study law. So when they get caught with guns and stuff, and they get in front of the detective and they start telling on the whole squad, well, everybody want to gangbang. What you say for them?
Yeah, those are the ones we got to get to and educate. Right. Those are the ones we got to get to make them understand that shut up. We got to get them. That's why I feel we done slept on another generation, and that's why I'm big on. Let's start back at the 5 and 6. Let's try to save the 5, 6, 7-year-old. Let's try to save them now, and that's why I believe in the park and recreations and the more money into the youth programs and stuff like that, because we done lost the 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They not going to learn until they, unfortunately, either make it through it or have to go sit down and miss somebody that they love.
Right.
Or get old enough where they have somebody that they got to work for.
Hello?
Because when we get 30 or 40, we change, we fall in love.
If you reach the younger generation, you might get a few that listen. Try to incorporate them on your platform to also talk to youth they age.
Yeah, we can. We can try. Like I said, conversations like this. If we save one person's life, it's worth it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
If we save one person, one soul, it's worth it to me. And that's why we got to have something. We got to do something, and that's what I want to be about. I'm not no preacher. I ain't gonna be able to say no soul to tell people into going to church and getting into heaven. The only thing I can tell you about is trying to have a good character and a good heart. But if I can save you maybe from, incriminating yourself, if one person tell me that they, that they listened and they didn't say nothing and they didn't talk to the police when they got caught up because they heard me say that, that'll make my day.
Right, because I got a little brother. He want to act gangster and he want to commit crimes, but I tell him when you do crimes, you got to know the crime you're doing. You got to know how to fight with the law book. You got to know that your lawyer is your mouthpiece. So if you don't tell your lawyer to do something for you, that lawyer is not going to do nothing but take your money. So he running scared from a case that he could have beat already. And a lot of these kids like that. They running around getting into more trouble and stockpiling case on top of case because they're on the run because they're scared of the first case they got instead of doing the homework they need to do to actually fight and beat the case.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to, educate people to do things where they could beat the system. I'm just trying to say where they can protect themselves.
They need to,
they can
protection,
get that lawyer, get that
yourself.
representative, and maybe
to know what you're getting
lighten
into.
the blow. Lighten the blow that because I believe some people deserve to be in prison. I won't tell you. Some people, rapists or child molester or people like that. I mean, a nigga that just like beating up on their women and stuff like that. Oh man. Put
those type of people that we bring to Haiti. That's what
serial killers and stuff like that gotta go. But
those type of people go to Haiti. that's where they need to go. No prison, Haiti.
Salute to the
brother. Pas de problème zo. West Palm Beach, Florida, yeah.
That's a Haitian speaking to you.
All love.
He's basically saying he's in agreement with you. Salute to the panel of men who feel the same way about those type of dudes. But I wanted Miss 702 Sheree, your girl, to hit you up on a question right quick. And before I do, Lomo the Great, who earlier was on the panel speaking to you, in the chat, he told me to ask you, how do you feel about Blue Lives Matter?
Blue Lives Matter. I mean, I'll be crazy to say that there's not good cops. I always say there's 1%, 2% of bad apples in that barrel that's out there doing that. I just want to get a universal training where, you have cops in certain areas that just train a lot better than other cops. Right. And I just think they need to get a academy or somewhere where they all go and get trained. I know because different states have different laws, but just the tactics and how to deal with stuff. I just think that's what the Blue Lives need to get, a universal training and a universal, because when you have politicians involved in deciding whether, I think the cops that got fired in New York, I think that mayor overreacted real quick. The one in Rochester, New York, I'm not saying they should be fired or shouldn't be fired, but the one in Atlanta, I just think people getting fired that haven't had their justice yet, or it hadn't been investigated soon enough. And so I just think that politicians shouldn't be the ones deciding when people need to get fired or not. I think you should have a universal panel that goes out and investigate all of these crimes. And not crimes, all of these incidents, shooting incidents, some of them are crimes. But I think we need a universal panel for training, a peace officer standard of training. And if they get those two, I know it's going to be hard, but that's what I think they need to start getting done so we can stop having all of these different type of shootings and different type of use of force incidents because cops just wasn't trained. And they know no better. Most people don't know that incident in Minnesota with George Floyd. Do you know 2 of those cops hadn't been on the job for a week? Hadn't been on it for a week. And now they're about to get indicted, go to jail for a little while. And there's no way they could have in the world. I wish a guy that had been on the job for a week would have told me to get off somebody. I'm not saying he was right, because trust me, he deserved to be in jail for the rest of his life. But all 4 of them deserve to be in jail.
I think they knew.
I don't think 2 of them should be.
They bounced together at a club or something like that. Somebody told me. So they knew each other behind the scenes too. They ran across each other. So it might have been personal, allegedly.
Could have been personal. I'm not saying the guy that acted a fool. He deserved everything he gets. But the guy just standing over. I could have seen my stupid ass just standing over there trying to keep people off of him or coming over there with being a week on the job. If you work at Walmart or McDonald's, you only have 2 or 3 days on the job. You don't tell the motherfucker that's been there years how to do their job. You just sit back. You don't tell them, "Oh no, you put the grease in the fryer like that. This is how you supposed to do it." Even though you know he doing something wrong, you just shut up.
Go ahead, Miss 702. Thank you for being patient. You are holding queen status right now. Salute to you. The floor is nah, I like all of y'all.
I have another death row question for Reggie. I know I'll be wearing him out with these death row questions, but this is another personal death row question, okay? Because I really be studying y'all interviews. Why does it, and I know you go off on everybody and you do not hold back, but why do you have such a painful time talking to Keefe D? Like, it is the most painful I ever see you look when you talk to someone.
When I talk to somebody?
Yeah, because like y'all know Keefe D. Y'all all have relationships. Y'all all came from the same place, played football together, swam in your grandma's pools together. Like y'all really had a relationship, or at least Suge did with Keefe D. So y'all weren't unfamiliar with him. So why is it that it seems like you really don't like talking with Keefe D? Like that's the one that it seems like it pains you the most.
Keefe D?
Yes, Keefe D.
Because he's responsible for killing Tupac. I throw a jab at Biggie, and pretty much say all the time, and people on the East Coast get mad at me. I'll be like, well, whatever happened to Biggie, it happened. Oh well, okay. But it hurts me about what happened to Tupac because I had a relationship. I know him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have any relationship with Biggie. I didn't know Biggie. I feel for his mother because I done felt in love with his mother because the way, the type of mannerism and type of person she had. That story kills me every time when she said her and Biggie got into an argument and she put the phone down and he was still on the phone 2 hours later. I mean, I love hearing stuff like that where he wasn't going to hang up on his mama. You know what I'm saying? But Keefe D is really responsible for, I know a lot of people don't believe it, don't want to believe it, but he's responsible for, one of the ones responsible for killing Tupac Shakur. And,
but do you understand why the rest of the world, even though it's a sad situation, is still kind of funny too? Because you and Keefe D have the most functional relationship out of all your dysfunctional relationships. You can call Keefe D, he's going to answer, he's going to do the interview for you, then y'all are going to hang up and hate each other. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
I only did it. I only entertained doing an interview with Keefe D was because of the subscribers. I always told y'all that. I asked everybody on there, should I do it? Do y'all want me to do it before I even consider doing it or talking to him? The only reason I really talked to him before was to get him and Eugene Deal in contact with each other and got them both on the phone with each other. But once Keefe D got out there and told his story, I had no more reason to talk to him. I'll be honest. I mean, it's like that's a person that really was involved. And I'm not saying that they were wrong. Let me say this. They were supposed to do what they did. They were supposed to do what they did in the culture that they live in. I'm not saying in my world, but in the world that they live in, they did what they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. So my next question would be, as an LA chick, Compton is such an important part of our whole story. It's no way that your people didn't come from like Louisiana and move into the projects, like you said your dad was from, and then eventually be able to buy a home in Compton. That's every Black person in LA who's several generations story, right? Uh-huh. Do you, as a true blue Compton person, do you feel bad about the way that people see Compton, like their perspective of how Compton really was?
Oh, we glorify that. We glorify that. We love that. Easy raps about that all the time. If you listen to any of their music, if you listen to DJ Quick, they love that. That's what got them on the map. To be honest, right now, Compton is a Mexican city. It's 70% Mexicans and 30% Blacks now.
But a lot of people don't know that y'all were the middle class kids who had pools in the backyard and like all brand new cars in the driveway.
That ain't
Like
true.
Compton
That
was
ain't
a
true. We
city
ain't had
with
no
black
pools
people
in the
with
backyard.
money.
We had probably about shit. I know 2 people that had a swimming pool in our backyard, but compared to Watts,
But the Wrights,
true.
right? The
That's where
Wright
everybody moved
family,
from.
the
Moved
Tucker
from
family,
our
all those
project
families
housing
are known
to
middle
the city
class
of Compton.
families in Compton.
Huh?
I
Yep.
said,
What you say,
but
babe?
those family names are big time family names in Compton that are well known. The Wrights, the Tuckers, etc., etc. Like these people were
Yeah.
homeowners, had good jobs, etc., etc.
Well, that
Do
was
you feel
that
that
was in
hip
the
hop
one that was in the
kind of
area where
gives Compton a
what they
bad
call
name that's
that
not always accurate?
I'm sorry, babe.
Do you feel that rap sometimes portrays Compton as a city that's not 100% accurate?
I believe that's how they saw it. The rapper saw it. Yeah, I believe that's how they saw it and viewed it. That's what they thought. And so it was accurate. It was accurate for the '90s. It's not accurate for now. But for the '90s, it was accurate, or the '80s. I find it funny how everybody always say that the police department and stuff was corrupt, but everybody you talk to that was game banging and all of that all said they've been where to the penitentiary. So if you got this corrupt, sorry police department, how are all these people going to jail and going to prison? And none of them ever say that dope or stuff is planted on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, no one will say, yeah, these niggas lied on me. They planted dope on me. You never hear none of that about it. But people outside it always said how they had this big old corrupt police department and this and this. But everybody you talk to, everybody that you know, been put in a prison by law enforcement in Compton. That's just the other side of me. I just always laugh at that. I tell you, I'm a bipolar person.
Well, I think another question that all of us fans have, and I was really waiting to ask this last because I know I Smoke is probably gonna wrap it up. But how did you feel being on the opposite side of the coin? Like, how did you feel being the one who actually went into custody and actually walked through that experience? Because that wasn't like your original path. You were on the side of law enforcement. How did you feel being on the opposite side?
It was a gradual thing. It wasn't something like I just was in too deep with it, where just I was there when I was even there with Chef. I was legit. I was still the police. They looked at me still as the police. It's just when I started having to do things and start seeing things and getting to know guys better and be like, this ain't a bad dude. This ain't a bad guy. I got to know people, got to know their parents and stuff like that. You start realizing these not bad people. These people just like those punk ass cops you used to ride with or work with, whatever. They got the same issues, same problems. And that's when, I still don't think I was a bad person. I did a stupid thing that caused me to have to be in a penitentiary, but I don't think I did anything wrong. I really don't think that. I think marijuana is not a bad thing. I just heard my boy, the BlessOne, say, people always get mad at the drug dealer, the person that sells the weed, but everybody smoke it. That's the crazy thing. Everybody smoking, but everybody talk bad. Oh, you're a drug dealer. How you think you get it?
Hey, anybody in the chat, you guys should have taken advantage. I don't want him to keep going as far as I know he wants to, but I'm definitely going to build, you know what I'm saying, with brother Reggie. I think he's actually enough questions, but let me see if I could read some in the chat, or at least I might just, let me see if we have any good ones in the chat to ask him right quick. It's a lot. Some are crazy in a good way, so a lot you answered already, so do you have anything else you want to tell to the people, Reggie, as far as promoting yourself some? Because like I said, I'm a fan of you as far as being part of my hip hop.
If you got any questions you really want to ask, you can hit me up on IG, Reggie Wright Jr. And I try to respond to people. I usually try to respond to people in the comment section. And so, but I'm telling you, any questions you have, and I ain't trying to steal your fan base, but trust me, we're bomb first. This has been talked about because we do interviews like that. Sheree, no, we do 4-hour interviews like this all the time, where we just talk, get on streams and talk, and answer all type of questions and stuff like that. So, trust me, they done been talked about. Lately, I done became a conspiracy channel because I've been responding to things and talking about negative stuff, but we do have a lot of old interviews from about a year ago, Reggie, where we were mainly talking about death row things.
If you like staying 4 hours like that, I mean, it's more because this is your interview. I want people to know you, and I mean, a lot of people do already. That's why I didn't want to. Like, normally we do.
Well, no. I said I'm used to it, but, you know, we could cut it because I do gotta use the bathroom. Okay, and I gotta call the wife. She done called a couple of times. I better call her back before she.
Man, I already got that go. I'm gonna edit this for you as well, but it's more because it's an interview. We normally been going 7 hours now, and thank you, Miss 702. So most likely, I'm definitely well after this show. I know you gotta use the bathroom, but I'm gonna hit you up behind the scenes. And salute to the panel. Think y'all come back tomorrow, but you can definitely come back and we can share conspiracy stories.
Man, anytime. I'll tell you, I'm here at this halfway house, so I don't be really doing nothing. And anytime you want to type in or tap in 100%. And you want to ask some questions, feel free to call me.
I don't wish nobody in a halfway house, but it kind of low-key making you build with me more. So I definitely could talk in the panels. We have some outstanding panels that we usually bring up, and you seem a man of all things. So I'm going to just say thank you for making me my faith. And all these people I seen on TV growing up, that you guys are like not bots, not robots. Y'all like the real deal, whether for the good or the bad. And that just make me have a more humbling spirit to it. So I'm definitely gonna ask you for the links and send me everything, so we could definitely send it to the people, and I can send it through the emails and all the different social media platforms I have, and we get the ball rolling. Thank you, Reggie. You leave the final words to the people, man.
No, respect to everyone, and appreciate y'all taking the time just to hear my side of the story.
Oh, perfect. That man said my side of the story. That's refreshing to hear, since everybody act like it's one way, one-sided. Thank you, Reggie, man. We got another classic. Thank you to Smoke Gang. One thing before I click off, I like telling people, love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed. I want you to tell the people, salute the Smoke Gang and blessings. I make everybody do that, from the Jojo Capones to everybody. It's just a good luck thing.
All right. Well, salute to Smoke Gangs, you call it? The Smoke Gang? Salute to the Smoke Gang family. And much love, you guys. And y'all be safe out there. Stay coronavirus free.